maybe, or
good morning,
some Culture Club. I'll tumble for you. I'll tumble for you. Hey, how we doing, everybody? Welcome to Caliber Corner, episode number 145. I was just serenading the panel before we got started this morning, and as usual, Ammo Cat is sleeping, so we're going to keep the noise down. All right. Looks like we are live and we are up and running. Okay, so what is going on? I keep hearing myself. Oh, there we are. All right, we got that turned off now. I can finally hear what's going on. Okay, guys, we're going to go and let the panel introduce themselves, and we're going to get started. Today, we're going to talk about revolvers. I love revolvers, and for some odd reason, I tend to shoot them better than any other firearms that I own, yet I have the least number of those in my entire collection. So let's go ahead and get started here by letting everybody introduce themselves. Squibby, would you like to say hello to everybody today?
Good morning to everybody today.
Squib, do you have your coffee? What are you drinking this morning? What do you got?
Some Highlander grog is brewing right now, but I haven't had any.
Dude, that stuff is so good. That stuff is amazing. One of the few coffees that's delicious with or without cream, I might add.
Correct.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Also joining us from the other side of town, we've got Defense Dad. Defense Dad, what's new with you, man?
Not much, man. I got some shooting in last night and just kind of having some fun, trying to stay cool.
Oh, God, today's going to be brutal. It was 85 degrees this morning when I was taking Ammo Dog for a walk. Luckily, there was like a 30-mile-an-hour wind. It kind of felt like the fan was on the whole time, but I think today's supposed to be like 97 or something. You know, if I wanted Orlando or Miami, I would have moved there. I don't need it at my front door, you know? Oh, God. So, Defense Dad, what do you got coming up on your channel? Give us a little sneak peek. What's new? What are you featuring? What's going on? Guys, make sure you head over to Defense Dad's channel and do subscribe.
Well, I got a few things going on. I'm going to do a review on the scope I sighted in last night, and I did some modifications to my old G2C last night with some things on it, and I'll be posting that. I got a few things in the works.
So I want a spoiler. Did the scope hold zero the whole time?
Well, I mean, so I just finished getting it sighted in last night. So
but it held zero. It didn't walk the whole time you were shooting it. You were able to get it consistent, right?
Oh, well, other than my stand was wobbling all over the place. Yeah, it held.
Cool. Good. Because I'm kind of really curious about that brand. A lot of people buy it, especially their version of the ACOG, and it's kind of interesting to see how well it performs. So that'll be awesome, man. Guys, make sure you head over to Defense Dad's channel and check it out. And join. It's been a while. Gun Snob, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful.
Uh-oh. That's a prohibited item. Heads up. You sure you want to wear that during the show?
Yeah.
That's the new ventilated. That's the non-95 mask, right? Is that what that is? The non-95. Yeah. That's got the easy breathing mode. That's for people that have breathing disabilities. Yeah.
It's a 40 caliber mask.
40 caliber. It's a 40 cal. 40 cal.
It's a 12 round 40 caliber mask.
Well, you know, they say we have to wear a mask, but they don't say it can't have holes in it. So you know, there's no guidelines.
I mean, I've been wearing my mask so much it's got holes in it. You know.
There you go.
It's actually the first time I put on a mask.
You should do like an auction. You should put that up on eBay and auction it off, or you should have a drawing for it. That would be sweet, man. That's the controversial mask that started it all. So you might be starting a new movement where everybody everywhere just cuts holes in their masks, you know? Oh, damn. So, Gunside, what you been up to lately, man? How's the channel going? Is it good?
It's going really good. Growing.
All right. What do you got coming up? Can you give us a little teaser of anything you got coming up on the channel? Anything fun lined up?
Yeah, next week I should have a Canik TP9 Elite SC with a Swamp Fox Sentinel optic on it.
Oh, that's I'm just messing with you.
I'm all about optics on handguns right now, so that's what I'm investing all my money in is handguns and optics.
Don't you feel like you're cheating, though? The fact that you don't even have to try to hit something. I mean, it's like a video game. Don't you? You know, you got to admit, it makes it a little too easy at the range, you know?
Yeah, but it's pretty nice.
It is really nice. I had a chance. My cousin has a CZ SP something or another that he had the slide cut for an RMR, and I was plinking around with it. My God, it's just like you don't even have to try. I mean, obviously you want to be accurate, but it's just so easy. Instead of trying to sit there and hold your little iron sights and hold everything steady and try to hit something. So, how much is that? I haven't had a chance to watch the videos. How much does the Swamp Fox Red Dot run? What do they sell?
This is the small one, the RMSC footprint, and it goes for I think $299. I got a pretty significant discount on it to do a video with it, but because I did a video with it.
Does it have compatibility? Is it like a base plate compatible?
It fits RMSC. They have one that fits the RMR cut.
Okay.
This one fits the micro one, like the Sig Romeo Zero, the J Point, all the little tiny ones for the like the P365 XL and the Canik and Hellcat and all those.
Oh, cool, cool. Okay, it's nice to see this kind of compatibility across the board with a lot of. They're not making it just like a proprietary.
At least the small ones are, because the big ones are all everybody's their own.
Have you guys had a chance? I know you or Obnoxious or Ghost. Have you guys had a chance to test out? Is it the Heatersun 9mm that comes with the red dot on the top of it? Has anybody tried that yet on any of our channels? Because they're a super budget friendly 9mm. Is it Heatersun that makes that? It's a Turkish manufacturer. I don't know if it's T-Sauce. They make one that's got an arm. It already comes with an RMR on the top of it.
I didn't know they had one.
Yeah, there's somebody that makes one, and it's kind of in that line of one of the Turkish guns that's out there. But I was kind of curious if those things are any good, because they're like $349 with the red dot on the top. So I don't know. A lot of good stuff. Now I just wish that Taurus just needs to make like a G3C Pro. If they make a G3 or G3C with a freaking cut on the top, I mean that would destroy the Masada sales, because they're basically the same price point. I mean, that would, and I'm sure there's companies out there that offer an optics cut for the G3 already. I mean, they'd be stupid not to. There's so many people buying G3s right now. I mean, it's just, they sell out like crazy. I've got a friend who works at a local gun store here, and I ask him, I'm like, what are the hot sellers? The G2C, G3C, G3, they can't even, they'll put them out. They'll put out like 15 of them, and they'll be gone within a couple hours.
I've had several people comment on a bunch of my red dot videos recently that they've got, or on that Romeo Zero, I had like 3 different people comment that they've got a optics plate for the G3 or the G2C or the G3C that goes in the rear sight pane.
Yeah, they got, I'm kind of curious. Yeah, I know you can, especially in those G2Cs. It's got such a wide rear sight. There's so much room there to put something down there with the screw hole. I mean, you've really got a lot of mounting options. Now that G3 is probably going to have a dovetailed rear sight. I can't remember. Or it's screwed in. Either way, I know there's companies that are jumping on the bandwagon that are making parts for them because they're just such a popular gun, you know.
Oh, and yeah. I did speak with Sky, and I'm supposed to be getting one of their DVGs with the optic eventually.
I requested one, but they never got back to me. I wonder why.
He finally got back with me and said he said he'll get me one out as soon as they get some in. He said, we don't even know when we're getting them in. He said it may be 2 months.
Are they even in production? I've yet to actually see one pop up for sale.
I haven't seen any pop up for sale. He said they can't get their hands on them right now. He said,
so, you mean the person that's going to get one to you, or Sky?
No, the Sky guy. The sales manager for Sky. He called me and talked to me.
Well, here's the thing. If they've got a line that they know is selling their CPX 1, 2, 3s, then they're just going to focus on those right now while the demand is high, instead of putting out a new model that might be out of a lot of people's price point, or is untested. You know, a lot of people might not want to buy a DVG1 or DX. What's it called? DVG1, is that right?
Yeah, I think so. They
might not want to buy because they don't know. There's no reviews out for it. There's no videos out on it other than just like a factory video and some SHOT Show footage, you know. Yeah. I mean, that's cool though. But yeah, there's so many. I'd imagine. I mean, Taurus would be stupid to not offer something with an optics.
I don't understand why they're not.
I mean, if they would do that and then maybe even do like a suppressor option, just kind of expand a little, they would. And maybe Taurus, maybe the US is just a tiny slice of Taurus's pie.
Maybe Taurus is just like Glock and says, we'll do what we want because we're selling all we need to sell.
Or they're just like Apple. They'll make a few little changes and then sell you the next model up. You know, how they kind of went from the G2C to the G3C and the G2, whatever. You know, they offer a couple little changes and it's a whole new model. Of course, what gun manufacturer doesn't do that though? I mean, really, when you think about it, sometimes the changes are just incremental, slightly revised trigger, maybe a ported barrel. Like they just do little things and then re-release it as a new model. I know Ruger's kind of notorious for that.
Well, SIG is too. SIG makes there's 100 different 320s and they're all the exact same with one minor little change.
They just they need to sell like a SIG master kit where you get a 320 with like 4 frames with different colors. Like you can just buy a whole John Wick board, just shows up. You like lift the box up and everything's right there. Just put it right up on your wall. But hey, what do I know about marketing, right? I'm just a teacher. So anyway, what are we talking about today? So we're gonna have a little revolver discussion here. We're gonna go into that for just a little second, but let's just see who's watching this morning. There's a lot of people out there. We got Sam of Anarchy out there. Let's see. First One Shot says, I've never heard of Swamp Fox. Well, you need to go check out Gun Snob's channel. John Lowell's out there. Ozzy Osbourne's out there. He says, good morning, all, with a cup of coffee. I think I'm ready for a second cup. Tailgate Tiger says, morning, all. Southpaw RX. Chuck-a-luck. Netflitters in the house. Jason Stewart's out there. Tacos and French fries, always. Keywords out there. Scott P79. Gun Snobs over there and over here. We've got Ed Crobert T is out there. And he said, let's just get this out right now. Snob, you might be able to answer this one. It says, I bought a Ruger single 6 for $250, but it doesn't have the Magnum cylinder conversion. I found a couple cylinders on eBay, but I'm kind of nervous to try it out. It's a beautiful gun, though. Are you safe buying a Magnum cylinder if the gun can handle the Magnum cylinder, if it's designed for it, or should you not because it was never originally built with that revolver?
Yeah, and in all honesty, who said that?
That was it's Ed Crobert T is out there. And then Joel K is joining in.
Tell him to send me an email to therealgunsnob@gmail.com. I'm not promising anything. I had one of those, and it got stolen when I was in high school, and I had a Ruger single 6. And whenever they stole it, the 22 mag cylinder was still at my dad's just a few years back in his gun cabinet, and I would give it to the guy because I have no use for it. But I don't know if it's still there. I just have to ask my dad if it happens to still be there. But send me an email so I have your info, and I'll message Dad later and see if he can look and see if it's still there.
So Ed Crobert T, I might try to reach you after this podcast. You said it's therealgunsnob@gmail.com, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So email him and he'll let you know, and then you can maybe take it to a gunsmith and have it inspected before you go fire. Make sure it locks up properly. Make sure the timing isn't off, because I mean that when you think about those cylinders, they made to that frame and they become one, like the metal, the way that everything goes together and the way that everything functions. That's why I'm not big about swapping out gun parts, because the gun parts age together at the same time. And I think that could probably lead to some issues, head spacing and stuff like that. So, but I mean, I do know that people,
those things are really built well.
Oh, they are. They are. I would rather go that route versus like a Heritage Rough Rider and then go buy a Magnum cylinder later to find out it doesn't fit or it's got issues or lockup issues, Yeah, single sixes are amazing. The whole Security 6 line is great. So, all right. Ooh, here we go. So Nice Strike says Taurus is probably selling to Brazil a lot now with its less than farms restrictions in Brazil. Yeah, I don't know if they open up 9mm to civilians or not in Brazil. I know that you were limited to 380. If you ever go online, you can actually see Taurus's Brazilian gun catalog for the Brazilian home market. It's very interesting because they have a lot of models in there and a lot of LEO guns that we'll never see here in the U.S., like full auto, this and that, submachine guns and stuff. And it'll say it's in Portuguese, but it'll say, not offered to the public or not available to the public, anything that's not a 380. So maybe they've swapped up to 9mm now. So now maybe the public can buy, or maybe they've loosened the law so that people can more easily acquire firearms. Because I know in Brazil you can own, I think, at least a 380 as a civilian, and they sell like their version of a Beretta 92 in 380. They sell like a 24/7 style 380 that's got like a 15-17 round capacity. So I mean, they're big on their 380 down there in Brazil. I don't know about 38 Super, but so all right, I think we'll just go ahead and go right into it. So we're here to have a little discussion on revolvers. I don't think I have any other announcements to make. Just more videos will be coming out on my channel this week, and then make sure you guys check out my B channel, which is called Coffee, Computers, and More. Speaking of which, Squib, you've got a package coming your way from Nebraska. Okay, it'll be there in a couple days.
Every time you say that, I'm pleasantly surprised.
This is gonna throw you a 180. So that's all I got to say. Well, I think.
Oh boy, I hope I don't have to roast my own beans, because you'll get a video where some redneck is burning coffee beans.
You got a pan on the oven and you're sitting there trying to.
There'll be a fire extinguisher nearby. No. It'll be ugly.
I'm not sending you green beans. If I did, I would send you a roaster too. So I think I'm gonna buy a Nesco. I'm really interested in getting into like roasting up small batches of coffee and selling them just as a little side job, little side hustle.
Can't you literally though roast them in a cast iron skillet, or is that? No,
you can use a hot air popper. I know Daniel Pfeiffer does that. If you get one of the if you go to like a thrift store or garage sale and you buy one of the original 1500 watt air poppers, you can roast your coffee beans in those air poppers. I think you could do it on a modern air popper popcorn maker, but they're like 900 or 1100 watts. But my wife and I, this is terrible. My wife and I used to buy the 1500 watters at garage sales. We'd clean them up and test them out, make sure they worked, and then we'd resell them on eBay because people would buy them as budget coffee roasters. So we buy them for like 50 cents or $1 and sell them for 25 or 50 bucks. Because back then, home roasters were really expensive. Now you can get a home roaster for about $100. Nesco makes one for $100. But I'm sure you could probably do it somehow. Maybe even use like one of those old time popcorn makers for your range top. You could like sit there and turn the crank on it and roast it. But you'd have such irregular temperatures. I think it would probably really screw. I don't recommend you try it. It'd probably light them up on fire, but.
Okay. So one of the key things too is keeping it even, cooking everything even, roasting it.
A lot of them have like an auger that spins or some kind of like a little stir that spins, constantly rotating. I've seen some that have like a screw auger that constantly toss the beans so they don't ever get a hot spot on. They're constantly being thrown the whole time. Like big batch roasters, I think, have like a huge like fin that rotates, and it rotates the beans while they roast. So coffee talk. I think I need to do a contest where you guys can help me come up with the name of the coffee that I'm going to start selling, and we'll come up with something. I was thinking like On Target Coffee or something like that. You guys help me come up with a creative name. How about Black Rifle Coffee Company? I like that. I think that'll work out really good. Black Rifle Coffee Company. No, it's probably being used already. But I want to get into roasting my own beans because it's super cheap. If you do it, you can get like for $4.25, you can get a pound of green beans that you roast yourself. So,
well, hang on a second. So, Squib, just put a heating element in your brass tumbler. You're good to go.
There you go. There you go. That'd work.
Yeah, I'll get back to you on that.
DIY that stuff.
Given Nice Strike some feedback. He says that the audio sounds good today. Yeah, no more Crackle P11 going on here, so that's good. No more Crackle P11. So yeah, I think maybe we'll have a little contest instead of doing a drawing. I'll do a contest where if whatever name I choose as my my micro roast coffee company, I'll give you some sort of a prize for it. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Okay, so let's get into a revolver talk here. I just want to kind of run this around the horn. Any models that are your favorites that you own, that you've considered buying, or that you really like, whether it's from movies or whether it's something from your personal collection. I want to hear what people on the panel have to say. I know, Snob, you got a lot of experience with revolvers, and obviously, Squib, you've got revolvers in your thumbnail there, so it's got to have something. So Squib, we're going to start off with you because I know you're a busy man today. What are some of your favorite revolvers? What are some of the ones that are just a joy to shoot for you? And we're not really talking black powder; we're talking straight up cartridge. But what do you enjoy?
Well, one that I really like is the Ruger Super Red Hawk and 44 Magnum, and I'm kind of a fan of the old Colt revolvers, but they're I don't want to say they're out of my price range. They're not. I guess I just don't want to spend that sort of money. But I'd really like to get a Model 29 Smith & Wesson.
Okay.
Now, here's my conundrum. The Super Red Hawk does the job just fine, and it's a lot less money. So for functionality, go with the Super Red Hawk. But kind of the iconic, go for the model, to pay the extra money for the model. I almost, it's like those guys that have certain brands, and it's not that it's really any better than the competition, but they're paying for the name. Mm-hmm. I almost feel like I'm doing that with the Smith & Wesson, but I really want that 29. I just don't think it's a $1,200 gun. I was
gonna say, what do they run? What are we looking at?
At the gun shows, back when we had those, back before the whatever, they're going for about $1,200, and I've seen Super Red Hawks as low as $600. So, more or less for me, the same gun. $900 would be more reasonable for a Model 29, but I just haven't seen it.
Yeah, the Rugers, man. I mean, they're an incredible value. You spend more than you would for, say, like a Taurus or a little bit less than a Smith & Wesson, but they are very robust, very well built.
They're built like a tank.
Yeah. I've got the Ruger new Blackhawk behind me right here, and this thing is freaking amazing. Trigger on it, for single action, the trigger is absolutely fantastic. So, all right. So, Squib, what do you have the most experience shooting then? You said your Red Hawk?
No, it's a buddy's Super Red Hawk. Probably the thing I've got the most experience shooting is a Colt Diamondback. I've shot two different versions of that, a 6-inch and a 4-inch, and always loved it. Always loved the Diamondback. But, I shot that Colt Trooper that Stan loaned you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That 357, that thing was, it shot just like the Diamondback.
Oh, Colt revolvers are amazing. I'm sorry. They're old vintage. I don't know about new, but old ones are, my God, they're just like, that's like a piece of history you're shooting right there. They're so awesome. And that's
another thing, as they're coming out with the new versions of the old snake guns, mm-hmm. part of me is kind of like, just get one of those, because if you beat it up, you're not destroying the collector value, right? And I'm not really too much worried about min parts or anything else like that. I think I'd like to try one out, though, just to see if it's got the feel of that old Colt, if the sights are really good and everything. I mean, everything comes into place with the old Colts, the old Smith & Wessons. You know, this is what I don't like about making a choice on a revolver. Your range revolver, your service revolver, your hunting revolver, your target shooting revolver is not the same revolver that you're going to conceal carry. And it's kind of like, you know, you need it to be small, lightweight, nothing that'll snag, blah, blah, blah. Those are the worst to shoot, in my opinion. They're snappy. You can't see the sights. They're a royal pain. You need to know how to use it. So if you got yourself, you know, one for carry that you didn't use very often, but one for target practice, it's too bad the target practice isn't really practical for concealed carry. It'd be nice if there was some sort of hybrid where they could compromise between it. You know, you've got really good sights. You've got maybe a 4.5-inch barrel. How do you know, I mean,
SP 101.
See, I've shot that and I like that. And you know what? The SP 101 and the GP 100 both are really, I think they're really fantastic. I don't want to call them entry level, but I don't know what other kind of term to put on there for a new revolver shooter. But neither one of them did I consider something that I might want to conceal carry. I mean, a woman might be able to do that in her purse, maybe, and I've concealed carry full size guns, but yeah, I just don't know.
Just a little awkward with something that big. Or just the
you know, here's the thing. I might do the whole shoulder holster and suit coat thing if I was going to conceal carry a revolver. Then I could have my full size revolver and conceal carry, but I've never actually tried it. But I've heard all kinds of, just a lot of people don't really go for the whole shoulder holster thing. So the thing about the revolver for some people, I think, is that you know, it looks like a clunky old timey gun. Capacity, everybody's all about capacity, and that's not an issue for me. And I think it just people want that.
I couldn't hear you. What'd you say? Did you say hair?
Unless it's a deer. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it's really it isn't my deciding factor. It's a nice perk to have, but for me, I'm not turned off when because I mean, I like a heavy gun. They're usually well balanced. The sights are great. You know, unless of course it's a concealed carry gun, and I just cannot see them sights on a little gun. That's one of the things that kind of draws me to some of the revolvers that I've handled or had before, is just how much better I thought the sights were than some of these semi-autos. So, I mean, I don't really have a favorite. I don't really know what my next revolver purchase is going to be, but I guess there's so many good ones out there. I just can't make up my mind, but I definitely don't have the money to go out and buy 5 or 6 at a time.
And something I want to get to in a little bit is, okay, do you take your $500 or $600 and do you go to the gun show and buy yourself something like the Ruger Police Service 6 in excellent condition, which is a freaking amazing revolver built like a tank, or do you spend the money and get yourself something new because you want a new gun? I mean, whereas you might get something old, good cast, you know, good forged parts, good beautiful bluing, heck of a service life to it, or do you spend the money and get a new one? That's kind of my conundrum right now, is do I want to go that route? Would I rather buy something old that I know is just good, or buy something new just for the sake of having something new, you know, that you can beat up, that you don't care about the collector value and stuff like that, you know? That's an interesting decision on that. So, Defense Dad. So you said you're a bit new to the revolver game right now. Do you have any interest in any? Have you ever researched any or looked into them, or maybe looked into one for like a family member at all?
I've looked into them. I have several family members that have them. I've shot them. They're fun to shoot. I'm at the stage in building my collection right now, though, that whatever guns I have to flex to more than one purpose. So like what Spiff's saying, like if I want one that could be concealed or a range gun, that's just not the case with them. I really like them. I appreciate them. If I were when I get one, it'll probably be a Ruger, just because I come from a Ruger family. I like the history on it.
Yeah, the GP 100 and 357 Magnum is probably one. I know they're not perfect. I know some people have some issues with them from time to time, but they are just, when they run, man, they are an awesome revolver. Just laser accurate. I mean, they're awesome. Very comfortable to shoot. So yeah, GP 100 is definitely up there. That's really about the only Ruger I've ever looked into myself, and so I don't know much about the other models in the line, but I'm trying to get some ideas from you guys in the panel too. So. And then we're going to do some shopping too. We'll kind of check out and see what's actually for sale, like what revolvers are actually in stock right now, what kind of prices we're looking at. Because unlike a lot of other guns right now that are going for retail or above retail, revolvers seem to be holding steady, or if they've gone up, it's only been just a couple bucks. So, Gun Snob, what about you, man? What are some of your favorites? What are some of your all-time favorite revolvers? What do you think?
Well, it has to have a full underlug. That's my rule. And it has to be a Ruger GP 100 or a 686. That's the only two. No, I really like both of those. I don't own either one right now, but my GP 100 was probably my favorite gun ever, and it's one of the guns I sold when I got a divorce. And I keep saying I'm going to buy another one, and I just buy something else every time because it's just one of those guns that I'm probably not ever going to carry it, and I just don't ever go buy it.
Is that your GP 100 was in 357 Magnum?
Yep, 4-inch blue.
Yep.
Rosewood grips. That was
dude. They're just for the money. What's one run these about 750?
Yeah, you can find them at gun shows, like at Wanamaker. I found several around the $500 mark, and I just used. And I never found the exact one I wanted, and that was the problem because I want the exact one I had before, and something interesting about Ruger is they don't advertise their warranty. In fact, they say that they don't warrant their guns because they're not legally required to, but they simply say if you have problems, just send it in. And I remember, Squib, you might have been in on this discussion. We had Tony with us on the discussion, and he blew up his Ruger revolver shooting a hot hand load, and he ended up sending it into Ruger, and they repaired it for free. I don't know if he cracked the frame on it or something.
He cracked the cylinder.
Oh, the cylinder?
And he contacted them, and he said, look, this is what happened. I let somebody else use my reload equipment. They changed the charge on the powder drop. I didn't double check it, and I thought it was still set to my setting. I loaded up my hand loads way too hot, and I cracked a cylinder. Ruger told him, our cylinders are designed to withstand 150% of a max safety charge load. That shouldn't have happened. And they replaced the cylinder on the gun for him. And he was like, no, I'll pay. This is my scope. And they're like, we got this. Now, that may not be the situation with everybody. But as far as them saying we designed it that way, sometimes in the auto industry, we do the same thing. Sometimes we do the bare minimum to save money, but sometimes we will design something to be 150%, 200% or more of the safety rating because we just don't want to get sued 20 years later.
Yeah.
So, Ruger's doing that. But if they advertised it, you're going to have somebody who would purposely try to, and it isn't safe. It isn't worth it. Even if they say, we'll replace the cylinder over and over again, it isn't worth it. You might get hurt or killed.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm going to tell you, if I'm going to shoot a way too hot hand load in a revolver, though, I would want it to be like a GP 100 because those things are built so well.
Here's a question for the panel, and Snob, you might be able to answer this one because you've had access to some pretty high-end, firearms in your time. Mr. Cypher Monkey wants to know: do any of the panel have any experience with Dan Wesson revolvers, in particular the 715 series?
That'd be a no for me.
No, I'm afraid not, man. I mean,
my price range.
Yeah, I mean, I like Dan Wesson stuff, and I would think it's going to be fine for what you're paying for it. I'm sure that it's a nice, it's got a nice, just trigger's probably fantastic. The internals have been polished up. It's been cleaned up quite a bit. You're going to pay a premium for some of those custom models, but I think in the end it's going to be worth it. You're going to have a better trigger and so on. So as for me, I got to go along with Gunstomp, man. I love the GP 100. I have owned a Taurus poly protector in 357 mag. It's a little snub nose that they sell. It's 357 mag, and it's also rated for 38 special plus P. It was inexpensive. I think I paid like $228 for it or something like that. But it was just, I never really liked it because it's like a plastic frame. It's like plastic, like a poly coating over a metal frame, and it looks like it's like glued together with different panels and stuff. I just never felt safe shooting it, which is a terrible thing to say about a gun that you own because you would expect the gun to run, and I wasn't very accurate with it. It does have some nice fiber optic sights in it. It was relatively cheap. It's more of like a very, close defense gun. And it had 2 different pistol grips that came on, well, grips that you could put on it. And it was nice. I mean, it was okay for what it was, but I also had an old H&R 22 LR revolver that had the Magnum cylinder that came with it too. So, yeah. So if you're looking, let's just see what the chat's saying here. What are you guys talking about? We're talking about, okay, so Sam of Anarchy says, I want a couple of Smith & Wesson Model 629s, one stainless with a 4-inch barrel and one nickel with a 6.5-inch barrel. That would be awesome. Fluffy 10mm Jeep guy says, I've only got 2 revolvers, the Ruger Wrangler and a Charter Arms 38. Sold my 2 41 Magnums. Let's see. Ruger Security 6, Speed 6, Scott P79 says, yeah, the Security 6 line is just awesome. Just awesome. Since we're talking about revolvers, got a question for the panel. What's a good, nice, and expensive entry-level 22 LR revolver to get? That's a question from Night Strike. So, guys, what do you think? I have not fired the Ruger Wrangler. I have no experience with them. I gave one away in a gun drawing when I hit 25,000 subscribers. They're very well built. They're very nice. They are a bit of a premium over the Heritage Rough Riders. But what do you guys think? What's a nice, inexpensive revolver to get into? What do you guys think?
Well, okay, so the Heritage Rough Rider might be your go-to, especially if you live near a Bass Pro or Cabela's, because they've always got them on sale. Well, I shouldn't say always. They used to have them on sale really cheap from time to time. Yeah. There are different models within there. I mean, you could order a fancier Target model or something else like that. But there's a difference, I guess, between the Wrangler, not really price-wise. I mean, there you go. The Rough Rider's cheaper, but the Wrangler's got some different characteristics. Rough Rider's got some different characteristics. If you go to Small Caliber Arms Review, he does a couple of videos and he shows the differences between the Wrangler and the Rough Rider in a couple of his different videos, because I think one of them you've got to have it on half cock to spin the cylinder, and the other one you don't, or some, I mean, just weird stuff like that. And you might go, oh, you're nitpicking, but there might be just certain characteristics that you might want, and that might be the difference between spending $50 or $100 more for the gun. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't seem like there's another one. I want to say, is it the Rossi? There's a
Rossi that's out there. Yeah, I'm looking right now.
And it's got a couple little characteristics.
Chiappa too. Chiappa does make them too. Yeah,
I had a Chiappa at one time.
And they something will be different about that, about how the loading gate works or some other thing. So there isn't like one that has all of the features on it. You get one that has this, one that has that, one that doesn't have this, one that doesn't have that. So with the 22 long rifle, if you're just looking for a cheap gun, just go get the Heritage Rough Rider. It's made in America. I think it's got the Taurus warranty, which goes back and forth. So take that for what it's worth. But if you're willing to spend the money, then I would say check out a couple of videos and look at the differences in how they operate and figure out which one is more conducive to what you like.
Yeah, I'm looking at Classic Farms right now on the screen share, and we're looking at one. Is $159 a pretty good price? We've got a blued 6.5-inch barrel, wood grips with 2 cylinders. $159. That seems like a
pretty decent.
Is that? I mean, what? I mean, I know we're going to see lower prices during the holidays and stuff, but is that usually you see something like that for almost $200, don't you, or not?
Yeah, 150 to 200 is what I've seen. Okay. I've seen the base model bare bones Rough Riders, just 22 long rifle only, go for $99 on sale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I gave for the one I have is $99, but it doesn't have the extra cylinder. You have to pay the extra to get it.
Now, Review says the Taurus warranty is worthless. They never have parts. Review, I'm not going to disagree with you at all. I have a lot of people that complain about sending in their Taurus for repair, and maybe it'll get better now that they have a U.S. facility. But yeah, with them still importing the guns from Brazil, I'm sure the parts are still coming in from Brazil. And if you get a newer model, they might not have the parts for it. So you have a TX22 that has issues. I've heard people saying that they have to wait literally 8 to 12 weeks to get their gun back from Taurus, and it isn't always repaired.
I don't know if that would be the case with the Rough Rider because Rough Rider's made in Florida at a
Heritage
factory in Florida.
Yeah,
Heritage was its own company, and Taurus bought them.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I mean, just because it's
Taurus
under the
bought
same umbrella,
Heritage.
that doesn't mean anything unless the bean counters are coming in and they're cutting back on their what they offer for warranties and stuff like that. But yeah, I fired a Rough Rider before. I really like them. And get the 2-cylinder option that way with the 22 Magnum. You've got something that would be a defensive firearm if necessary, but you could also use it to dispatch varmints if you want to. So, and the thing is, if you've got 22 LR to burn, and I know it's getting a little thin on the shelves right now for some people, but that's a great way to practice, especially if you have something like a Ruger single action or a big cowboy gun. You could at least have the basics of handling and practice with your Rough Rider. It's not going to be the same thing, but there's going to be a lot of mechanics that are going to be the same, and it's going to be inexpensive for you to practice with at the range. They're nice, durable guns. They're low maintenance. They're also a great beginner revolver if you're teaching somebody to shoot. That's also a really good way to go too. So I'd consider going with the Rough Rider as a beginner revolver. So nice, right? Not to keep beating the topic up, but I mean they are really good revolvers. So
I would go with the Rough Rider over that Chiappa because I bought one of those Chiappas on it was a Black Friday sale at like a farm and ranch store around here. You got two for like $179 on their sale. So I bought and me and my dad actually split them, and we both ended up selling ours within just a few months. Well, I have huge hands. My finger would be pulling back on the trigger to go in a trigger guard with the hammer cocked. The trigger guard is so small on it. It was like a little kid. I was like, this is.
And they're more expensive. They're like $100 more, $75 more than a Rough Rider. There's really no reason to.
I found them for like $80 a piece though. Whenever you bought the set.
Oh no, now they're $230 if you want. Yeah, for just a basic one, And you know what else I like about the Rough Riders, man? They've got so many different grip options. They've got kind of the snakeskin grip. They've got the pinup girl grips you can get. They got the rattlesnake. I mean, they've got a lot of really cool grip options, and I'm sure there's a lot of aftermarket support for them too. Like you go on eBay, you can probably get something that's got more aggressive checkering on it if you want it. You can probably get something with like a more rustic look. So I would think that's definitely the way to go. I would buy one for practice. You should have one anyway, just because they're relatively inexpensive. And weren't they doing a deal last year? If you bought a PT-111 G2 like at Rural King, they gave you a free Rough Rider. Maybe it was Cabela's that did that, or Bass Pro.
Academy did that.
Oh, Academy did that? Yeah, if you go buy a PT-111 G2, you got the free Rough Rider thrown in. Yeah. That's crazy, man. They must have been planning on making money off the ammunition sales. So let's see what we got for comments over here on the live stream. Let's see. So Nice Drake says, yeah, I think you guys just sold me on the one with the extra cylinder. I think it's like $20 or $30 more to get the extra cylinder versus not. You might as well go ahead and get it. Plus, it was built with that particular revolver, so it's going to work. DM Foss says, single sex. No, DM Foss, single six. Single six. Get your mind out of the gutter, son. Scott P79 says, I love shooting my single 6 and 22 Magnum. It makes one hell of a fireball. Yeah, the single 6 22s are just awesome. You're going to pay a premium for those, but they're also going to hold their resale, and I think the overall finishing quality is going to be, leaps and bounds above something like the Heritage. Not that there's anything wrong with the Rough Riders at all. So, I see you're commenting on Scott P79's comment. I thought maybe I said something wrong because I'm not even awake yet. So, Fluffy 10 millimeter Jeep guy says, I got my Ruger Wrangler new for $189. Haven't shot it yet. Yeah, the Ruger Wranglers, man, those are cool too. You're getting a Ruger, you're getting a good build quality. They've got the neat finishes on them now too. You can get the bronze or you can get the silver. So now Gizzard Gary says, if you want a 22 revolver, North American Arms is the way to go. So Snob, do you have any experience with an NAA, North American Arms, or Squib? You too? I did a range test on mine.
I've shot them a few times. Yeah. I keep saying I'm going to buy a Pug. I just haven't done it. So I'm going to grab one of these days.
Let's do a little screen share real quick. Yeah, because they offer like all these different calibers and they offer all these different styles and types. It seems like every year they're coming out with something new on those. Yeah, so like here's an NAA, the Earl 4-inch with 22 cylinder. 22 WMR. Okay, that's 298s. They also make the little tiny ones. Like the one that I had a belt buckle holster for it that you could use. You can keep it loaded with it on the belt buckle, which is pretty cool.
There's the one I want, the dude. That is such a beautiful gun.
408, man.
Color case hardened. It's
wow. That
comes with a little leather holster.
Tallow edition or whatever, Tallow edition.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Tallow or Talo? I always pronounce it Talo because it looks like Halo, but
I don't know. I always say Talo.
Talo? Okay.
I don't know. They had one here a while back when I was in Sports World, and I was so tempted. They're such pretty little guns.
Is that your hand in the photo there, or is your hand would be twice the size of that?
No, that looked half that size in my hand.
So it says North American Arms 22 mag Pug, outfitted in stainless and Bobby Tyler's fine color case hardened frame, included a full leather DeSantis cross-draw leather belt holster. Special silver parts include hammer, trigger, pin, cylinder. Give this limited to 2,000 units with CHP 0001 through CHP 2000 and custom rosewood grips. Okay, if I was going to get one, that'd be the way to go. You're looking at about $100 premium, but for all the extras, for the exclusivity of it, and it's going to hold its resale. With there only being 2,000, there's people that are really into these North American Arms revolvers, and I think there's kind of a small following, well, big following for those that people are going to collect those. Interesting sights on it too. It looks like it's got some sort of a white dot sight.
It's got excess sights. All the Pugs have excess front sights.
Now, this does not have the swing out cylinder, right? It just has the pin that the cylinder drops out. Okay.
I kind of want the Ranger or whatever, the top brake one, but it's $500.
Yeah, here you go. $417 for this one.
I guess it's a little cheaper.
Ranger 2 BT 15/8-inch revolver, 22 mag. Yeah, they're just neat little guns to have around, and they are surprisingly accurate. I had the little teeny tiny one, and man, the only thing about that is you had to be very careful when you were holding it. Like when I was at the range, I had to make sure my fingers weren't in front of it. You blow a finger off with that thing if you're not careful, because you have no trigger guard on it. I mean, it's just a little tiny. I was doing like a little two-hand grip on it when I was shooting it, and I mean, I was accurate out to probably 10 or 12 yards. I was able to keep it, within a center mass, but. They are definitely a lot of fun. So that's one to consider too, North American Arms. But I would go for a Rough Rider before that. So let's see. Any more comments going on over there in the chats? Let's see. Scott P79 says, I want one, the Smith & Wesson Victories, preferably the 45 version over the 38. Oh, SS Pawn is here. How you doing, SS Pawn? Good to see you. SS Pawn says, I love vintage revolvers. And SS Pawn, I love when you loan me vintage revolvers. That's all I'm going to say right there. Now, here's a question I got for you guys on the panel. Would you ever consider, or why, and I'm not criticizing anybody that's done this because I've thought about this before, would you ever buy a revolver chambered in 9mm Luger?
Yes.
Okay.
I would.
Yeah. I mean, I know 9mm. Let's just pretend that 9mm is not a hot commodity right now. You got plenty of 9mm, Gunsnob, what do you think? Would you get a revolver in 9mm?
I mean, I wouldn't have. I'm a person that wants all the guns, so I don't care. I'll accept it. But if I was buying as a defensive gun, no, I would not buy a revolver in 9mm. But just as a range toy, I don't care. That'd be fun.
Yeah. So what's the appeal to something like that, Defense Dad or Squibby? What's the appeal on it? Why would you consider going that route versus, say, 38 Special or 357 Magnum? What do you guys think?
Kind of the same thing as what Snob said. If I buy one, it's going to be a range gun. And I have a lot of 9mm. It's easy to get. Well, not right now, but typically it is. And if you're going to shoot it a lot, when you're not in pandemic prices, it's cheaper to shoot.
Yeah. Squib, what are your thoughts on the 9mm revolver? What do you think?
I was going to the Ruger website here to look at the one that I had looked at years ago that said, I want one of these one day. And it's a new model Black Hawk convertible. Ooh. So you've got a Black Hawk that shoots 357, and you've got a 9mm cylinder, because 9mm is .355 and 357 is .357. So you can shoot 9mm out of it. It's just a conversion cylinder, and they've got different models. You get stainless or black, different barrel lengths. They've got a couple distributor exclusives, et cetera. Now, some people might say, well, it's single action. I like single actions. For a carry gun, I would want a single double, but single actions are fun. They're absolutely
I shoot them way better than I do double action pistols. I mean, it's just less trigger pull. You can really get yourself set on it before you pull the trigger. It's almost like a rifle, I love the single action trigger pull. I always seem to shoot those way better than anything else I ever test on the channel.
I'm looking for an MSRP here, but I don't see one.
I'm looking right now. The problem with like, I'm looking at Gallery Guns. Everything is completely sold out. Go figure. Yeah. But yeah, Gallery Guns, MSRP. And which one were you looking at specifically?
I was looking at the model 5247, the Lipsies, but I can go look for one that's not a distributor exclusive.
Well, here's like the new model Blackhawk Bird's Eye convertible, 357.9, and MSRP is 924. So you're probably going to be looking at like $850, I'm guessing, maybe a little bit less if it's not on sale. Now here's a new model Blackhawk for $749, 357 9mm convertible.
Yeah, and here's the thing, your 357 is what you're going to have in it if you were to use it for self-defense or hunting or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Your 9mm inexpensive target ammo, and if you get older and the recoil's a problem, you got a revolver chambered in 9mm. At that point, it's really the weight of the revolver that might affect you. On Rick's show on Wednesday, we talk about different things about as you get older, your arthritis or your grip strength or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So this might be something where, as a younger person, shooting 38s and 357s out of it all day long are not a big deal. But when you get older, some light load 38s or some 9mm might be an option. I'm not really too sure. I just kind of like that. They've got other they got revolvers chambered in 10mm auto and 45 ACP and stuff like that. So, and then they get the BFRs that, are chambered in rifle rounds like 30-30 and stuff. So there are a lot of options with revolvers that you just may not get with a semi-auto,
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Those BFRs are fun.
Oh yeah, the ones that shoot like the 30-30 and the.
I had that Sports World loaned me one of the 30-30 ones. Oh, it was a blast! I really want to buy one. It's like $1,100-1,200 for something that's really a novelty.
Who makes those? I can't remember who's the company that manufactures those.
It's Car Arms is who owns.
Oh, Car. Okay, yeah. They own the company.
Yeah, it's all in with Desert Eagle and all them.
Yeah, is it? I don't remember what the name, but they own like what 3 or 4 companies, don't they? The same main company or whatnot. Yeah. So I was just looking over at Gallery of Guns. You can get a Charter in North is it North America or Charter Arms? I can't tell. The Pitbull for $477. Otherwise, you can get a Taurus in 9mm for $530. But obviously, they're all out of stock right now. I'd maybe spend a little bit more and up to get maybe the SP-101, the Ruger. Because that gives you the single action, double action option, but you can still shoot the 9mm.
SP-101 is a great gun.
And that'd be what, probably $650. We're looking at $719 MSRP when we're talking, non-pandemic prices, basically. Let's see here. Let's see. Tacos and French Fries says no 9mm by me. Ghani looks like Soliaker's out there too. G23's joining in. Port Conservative is out there too. Morning, Soliaker. How you doing, brother? Scott P79 says there's a boutique company in London making reproduction Webleys that are in 357 Magnum and are beautiful, but they're $10,000.
Oh.
The sad part is that the British people probably can't even legally own them. That's the sad part. So
no, not sad for us, but $10,000.
Oh no, yeah. That would be, there you go. There's your bucket list retirement gun right there, Squib. There you go.
Oh, man, I want a Webley. I've looked at a few, and it's another one of those 20, 25 years ago, could have got one dirt cheap, and I don't know, I'll just get it whenever. And there's so many variations on the Webley, as far as the kind of ammo that they use over the decades. They've switched different things out. So having a reproduction that you could shoot, not worry about destroying a collector value is kind of nice, but for $10,000, ugh.
So let's get everybody's opinion on. I'm gonna put you on the spot, Defense Dad. Chiappa Rhino. I think they're cool. I'm sorry, I love the looks of them. They just got kind of this like Blade Runner look to them.
So I'm gonna preface this. Like, I have a penchant for like some ugly cars too. Like, I like the Ford Flex and I like that kind of stuff.
Oh,
sometimes things are just ugly enough to be cool to me, and they appeal to me. And that's the Rhino does, and for whatever reason, I love it in the OD green with just a black handle on it.
Have you guys had any Chiappa Rhino experience at all, Snob or
yes.
Wibby? What do you guys think? Are they smooth shooters? Are they awesome? Are they worth the premium or not?
I shot one with a short barrel, running 357s out of it, and it was way too snappy. It kicked. It came back. Into my wrist worse than a short barrel 44 Magnum.
So that lower barrel, the way that it lines up and everything, it doesn't seem to help the recoil or the feel.
I'd go back and try it again with a full size. I'd like to see how a full size handles. But I thought, this thing is light. It's only 357, not a big deal. I've one-handed 357s, no big deal. And that first shot, I was like, wow. And I just don't know. Was it just the barrel length? Maybe.
I have shot one with a 4-inch barrel, and it's different because it is lower. It puts the recoil right back into your hand, not up like a traditional revolver. I didn't get to shoot it very much, but I didn't. With the 4-inch barrel, I didn't think it was too bad. But it's a different feel, that's for sure.
I haven't shot one, but I have a huge problem with the Chiappa Rhinos. Unless you get the little short barrel, I don't know if you can see my screen, but they have a seam in the barrel. And I don't know why, but that just drives me insane that it's not one solid piece there.
For what they're paying, you think they could machine out one out of a solid block of steel or aluminum?
I do not like the looks of the seam in it. Other than that, I think they're nifty. I don't know if I
is it less noticeable in a blued model or maybe like
no, it's still about the same. I've looked at them several different times.
It doesn't even it looks like it doesn't even line up with the lines of the gun.
Yeah, it just kills me.
Weird. It's almost like they've just taken the snub nose and just put a little addition on the end of it. Just put a little double wide on there and welded it on.
Even the short ones
that before now, man. You totally ruined my desire to want one of these.
Going back to the whole ugly thing, Defense Dad, did you ever have a Pontiac Aztec?
I sold those actually.
Dude, those are the Aztecs. Those are awesome. Those are awesome. They're one of the most useful, most utility. You can do so much with them, though. There's a gal at my church that had one. She used it as a pickup truck. She used it as a camper. She used it as a daily hauler. I mean, it was just like a little. She had an all-wheel drive model, but it's like a little minivan on steroids, man.
I sold for GM for 10 years. And they refused to let the salespeople to take the Aztecs for demos anymore because they had stereo controls and seats bolted into the back. The center console was a cooler.
Yeah. My stepdad worked for NCR, which is National Cash Register, worked on ATMs. And their company, he's retired now, but their company, back whenever the Aztec, after they came out, bought everyone in the company those for company cars because they got such a deal on them from GM, I guess, because they weren't selling. And I don't know how many of them they had, but they all had those with NCR written on the side of them and had them for several years. He loved it to work out of. The thing was hideous.
Yeah, the people who had them like the functionality, utilitarianism. Mechanically underneath, they were a disaster. If you ever had to fix anything on one, it was a mess. And they were just ugly as sin.
Yeah.
So speaking of Aztecs, Gizzard Gary's here.
I thought you were going to say speaking as ugly as sin.
Oh no, I was really tempted, but Gary's he's a handsome man. So Gizzard Gary, how's it going this morning, sir? How you doing?
Man, it's pretty darn good. I can't complain. How are you all doing?
Was I up before the rooster this morning? Was I the one making all the noise, waking up the hens, or what? What?
Oh, I was up a few minutes after you. I mean, I've been up for a while. I've just been kind of. On a Saturday, I kind of walk around with my eyes half open, just trying to get woke up and stuff. I'm here.
I think you were clearly still asleep because you still haven't responded to any of my texts this morning.
Oh.
So Gary, quick question for you. Do you have any favorite revolvers or revolver recommendations at all before we continue the discussion here? We're just talking a little revolver chat today. What works for you, man?
I'm not a huge revolver guy, but I've had a Taurus Model 85 for about 4 years, and I can't complain about it. I mean, it's a very well-functioning revolver. I also have a Rough Rider, just like everybody else in the world. So,
you got the Magnum cylinder with yours too?
No, I wish I did.
Yeah,
but I did recently purchase a couple of Naa Mini Revolvers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they qualify in this discussion.
We were talking about them. Yeah, man, I've shot them before. They're a revolver. So did you get the Pug?
I've got a Pug and I've got the 22 LR Mini.
Now, do you have the special edition Pug that's got the color case hardened finish and it's got the serial number with it and stuff?
No, I wish. I got a feeling the gun snob's going to end up with one of those pretty soon, though.
He's been thinking about it. They are just neat little. That would match my Henry 3030 with the color case hardened finish really well, I think. So,
yeah, they're pretty.
I'm over at Classic right now, window shopping, trying to find us a modern style single action, double action. I thought they had some of the Taurus 85s for like $450 recently, but I'm not.
Taurus just. Oh, you're talking about Never mind. You're on full size. I was like, or centerfire. I was thinking rimfire.
Well, the 85 is discontinued now. I think it's 856.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just seeing if there's. I'm already into the 500s right now, and for revolvers, there's just nothing popping up at this point. This is what's actually in stock at Classic Firearms as we speak. So that's everything is basically cowboy action style revolvers. So that's what they have at this point.
Now, I've noticed at my local shop, whereas you might have a hard time finding other guns, they are still keeping some revolvers in stock. So, but these are nicer ones, like your GP 100s and stuff like that. Not the cheap stuff, but if you want to spend the money and get a nice revolver, you still can.
Mm-hmm. Now, review says every Taurus I get breaks. I wonder if that's true with the revolvers, because they seem to be fairly well built. I don't hear about a lot of issues with those.
Well, Yankee Marshall claims that they go out of time after a while if you use them a lot, or they're bad to do that. Now, I personally never heard of anybody having that issue. But.
Sure. Let's see what else is going on in the chat over there. Poor Conservative says, LMFAO, I roasted up some coffee from Chile yesterday, brewed it up today pretty good. Oh, heck yeah. Oh, they're having a car discussion. G23 was disappointed he didn't get a wake-up call this morning. G23, I don't have your phone number. Give me your phone number. I'll give you a call when I'm taking the dog for a walk in the mornings, and I'll get you up, and you'll be ready to join us. So let's see. Gun Toting Pacifist says, I got some New England coffee, hazelnut brewing. Oh, that sounds good. I could go for a second cup right now. Uberti makes a reproduction Schofield break action revolver. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be sweet. That would be sweet. All right, now you guys need to help me here, because I'm still a bit of a revolver noob. So obviously, if we get a revolver rated for 357 Magnum, we can shoot 38 special plus P through it. What other caliber options are there? I know my dad has
44 Magnum. You shoot 44 special.
Okay, okay. And my father he's got a Taurus Judge, which is just the 45 long cold or 410.
And
which one is it? Is it the county commissioner? The one that I always come up with is it the Secretary Treasury Taurus that shoots, or who is it? Smith & Wesson that makes one it'll shoot 45.
Smith & Wesson has the governor, and you can use the moon clips in it, I believe.
Secretary, is that what it's called? I'm just making it up, man. The governor. Okay, so the governor can do 9mm.
No, 45.
45 ACP. And 45 Colt, but does that require any kind of special adapter clips or anything like that?
I think moon clips.
Yeah. Yeah.
What other options are out there? Is there anything else you guys?
There are some 10mm revolvers, so you could shoot 40 Smith in that.
Okay. Because I'm trying to, aside from going with a separate cylinder, obviously you can get a cylinder conversion kit and you can do whatever you want. So
on a 10mm, you just drop them in. You wouldn't need a conversion. And then same thing with 44 Magnum, 44 Special, 38, and 357. You don't need any. As long as it's shorter, it'll fit. They make the cases longer so that you don't put a 44 Magnum in something designed to only withstand 44 Special. But the other way around, it's a non-issue.
Okay. Yeah, so consider, if you're going to buy a revolver, consider getting something that would be a convertible model, just because it might save you some money to shoot 38 Special versus 357 Magnum, or to shoot, the 45 ACP versus 45 Colt, because 45 Colt's pretty expensive. That's an expensive ammo, in my opinion, if you don't load it yourself.
327.
327 federal, yeah.
Yeah, and you can shoot 327 H&H or H, yeah, and then I think it is in 332 auto and something else 32. There's 4 different calibers you can shoot if you've got something that's chambered in 327 federal. But once again, you've got the same diameter. It's just a shorter case, a weaker load, and you're going back to older stuff. Interesting that you can put 32 ACP in there. I mean, I've never actually done this. I've only read it. And I don't know if you need a moon clip for that, or you can have a heck of a time ejecting it or anything else like that. But this is the thing during an ammo shortage like this. If you've got more than just 1 or 2 guns, and you've got more than just 1 or 2 calibers, it's not that big of an issue. Sure, maybe your favorite gun is 9mm or whatever, and you can't shoot it, now, or it's very expensive to shoot or whatever. So you just shoot one of the other ones, and having these revolver options it increases what you can do with what's available during times like this, because these times come and go.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, Kingpin's joining us. Kingpin, you want to give us a little introduction real quick? I'm sorry I didn't see you earlier. I was reading.
Oh, if I'd known that was what you were going to say, I would have ignored it.
Kingpin, what's going on, man? How you doing this morning?
Well, sorry I'm late, but I heard you guys were getting everything wrong, so I brought my expertise in here to make sure everything is said right from now on.
So go ahead and correct us then. What revolver is the best revolver to own? What do you have?
I've got the Taurus Tracker and 357.
Mm-hmm.
I bought it used, and it's had tons of rounds put through it, and it's a really nice gun. I like it a lot. No, I'm a big fan of the GP 100s, and I like a lot of the Ruger stuff, but I don't really know a whole lot about like revolvers. I just recently learned the difference between a J frame and a K frame and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
It's one letter.
Snob, what were you going to say?
They're not shaped like J's or K's either.
I was just going to say, we were talking about the entry level or somewhat entry level 22 revolvers that I don't know anything about them. I've seen them at SHOT and I've seen them a few different places, but those new Tauruses look pretty decent. They're like 942 or whatever they are, little 22s, and then they have the 22 Magnum version. You can't get a cylinder for them, I don't think. I think you have to buy one or the other.
Let's go over there real quick and just see what they got for sale.
But I was just looking, and they were like 302 is what Sports World had them for. So,
okay, so revolvers. Let's see what they got here. And they got a ton. Yeah, like Kingpin, you said you got that Tracker, and that's a very, very beefed up revolver, man. I mean, that's a pretty solid model. Man, and there was a time where we could just get all these. Oh, geez, remember the good old days, guys? We could get them anytime you wanted them. So yeah, 605. There's your 82s. The poly protector, that's what I had. That's like a polymer coating over a metal frame. It was okay. I don't know. I just didn't shoot it very well. I mean, it was comfortable to shoot, but it was just, I don't know. It was very plasticky. Obviously, 608, 617 seemed to be pretty decent. Snob, what do they have? Which one's in 22 LR?
The 642, and I don't remember what. Maybe the 942, maybe the Magnum.
Okay, I'm trying to find one here.
You just went past the 940. There's a 942. Oops.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Let's see what you got there. So that was Brazilian made. Okay, different models here.
Yeah, that's the Magnum, I guess. I guess
8 rounds. 8 rounds, 22 WMR or 22 LR, your choice. A little bit of a price difference between them, but you can get. Oh, there's matte stainless, matte stainless. I wonder why this one is same size. This is odd. One of them is 408 and the other one's 391. They're identical.
Oh, one of them's black.
Okay, they're both matte. Duh. Okay, yeah, you got your one that's got the black coating is 391, and your stainless is polished stainless or brushed stainless is going to be 408. That's not bad. Oh, they got more models. Here you go. So there's an option for you. You haven't had a chance to shoot one of those yet, Snob?
No, I just played with it at SHOT Show. Okay. It felt decent for what it was.
Yeah. Well, it's a nice option for you too. And again, it might be a nice practice gun. You might have something a little bit larger. Say you've got, a 38 special or a 357 mag. But if you've got something that's a similar form factor or another gun in the Taurus lineup, it gives you an opportunity to practice without spending a whole lot of money. So that's one good thing about it too. And 8 rounds is nice to have also. So, Kingpin, have you shot 38 special through your Tracker at all? Do you notice much of a difference between those 2 rounds, or do you just focus on just strictly 357 mag?
I've shot 357 and 38, and really, to me, the only difference is the noise. The sound is slightly different. I had a couple of friends of mine, they were loading it for me at the range, and they put every other cylinder. They changed it.
Oh.
Trying to mess with me, and I took the first shot, and it was 357. And then I took the second shot, and it didn't sound the same. So I looked back at him and was like, ha, ha, ha. But really, as far as recoil and the revolver that I have, specifically that I'm experienced with, there's no real difference. Obviously, everybody calm down. I know that there's a difference. I know that they're not the same thing. I'm just talking about my experience shooting it through this specific revolver.
The only difference I noticed, I recently took the Ruger Blackhawk behind me and then Ruger Service 6 out, and I did the 38 special and the 357. I was shooting critical defense 357 Magnum, and that you could tell that had a little more kick to it. You could tell that definitely was a little more recoil that you felt. And then with the 38 special, it just felt a lot more tame, so you could tell the difference in between the 2 loads. And I don't remember what the what the grain difference was between the bullet, and that would have a lot to do with it too. Your felt recoil is going to depend a lot on if you're shooting identical grain. I don't know if you can do that in 357 Magnum and 38 Special. If you could get a very similar grain count, you might not notice a whole lot of difference, like you said before. So, yeah. All right.
Is there a 357, or is the only 357 Magnum?
Squib or Resident Reloader? Snob?
357 SIG, Master Race.
Is that the same thing as 357 Magnum? Or they're different rounds?
Yeah, your 357 SIG
is totally different. Not even close.
Yeah, designed for the semi-auto.
357 SIG is a 9mm jammed into a 40 case. You're talking about a small bullet jammed into the case for a pointless bullet.
No, I mean, it does generate. The idea behind it was that you'd have a semi-auto that would shoot a round comparable in power to certain loads of 357 Magnum. That was the idea behind the invention. It would increase capacity for cops going from their 357 Mag revolvers to a semi-auto. I mean, it's a hot round. I mean, it's a powerful round.
You could just get a 10mm. It was already out there.
So, and as I'm seeing, the only thing on the shelves right now in the gun stores is 10mm and mag and 357, and 40, and that's about it. So there's incentive right there to go get one. And if you get the 10, you can also get the 40 ammo, which is cheaper, and you can shoot the 42. So there you go. That's the way to do it. So here's one, guys. I have no experience with this, and maybe you guys can help me out. You're going to a gun show. You're going to go buy a revolver. You don't care if it's new or used. What are some obvious things that you want to look for when you're buying a used revolver? I've never done any kind of used revolver shopping. So what are some things you really got to watch out for sometimes when you know it's going to be a pass versus a buy?
If they're charging as much for a used one as it would buy it brand new at the gun store, they better have, you know, a really darn good reason for it, because I've seen that. It's like, you know, this is in production right now. I mean, I could literally go to my FFL and I might wait a couple weeks, but I get the exact same one brand new for this price. And they're able to sell them. They're able to sell them. People buy them.
When the cylinder moves forward and backwards.
Without pulling the hammer. Cracks in the frame, worn out barrels. Make sure you definitely check the rifling down the barrel.
That's what I wanted to bring up, because when the tracker that I got was my first introduction to revolvers, and I shot it a bunch of times and really didn't pay attention to it because the guy I got it from is a good friend and I know he takes care of his stuff. And then one day I was cleaning it, and right behind the trigger guard, just before the grip meets, there's a big crack right there. And I was flipping out. I was like, oh, my God, I broke my gun. It's about to fall apart. So I called Rich White and was like, man, what's going on? And he was like, no, dude, that's supposed to be there. So, I mean, don't do me. Know what you're looking at before you go making a judgment. If you don't know what you're looking at, ask somebody.
Definitely. I could see how that would be a concern for you, too, because a lot of people will sell guns saying, oh, yeah, it runs great. And then you get it and there's something wrong with it, you know. So Aaron Mortensen says, I picked up an EAA Windicator several years ago for under $200. It's heavy, but it's been 100% reliable. Yeah, the Windicators, I believe, are made in Germany, and they make kind of a snub-nose version, and then they make one with like a 4 or 5 inch barrel. The Windicators I've seen new, I think they're around $279, maybe a little over $3 and a quarter or something like that. I don't have a lot of experience with them, but I haven't really heard of any problems, but I also have never fired one before. I've watched videos on them and read up on them, and they seem to be okay. They do feel very light. I did handle one in SS Pun, and but I think it would probably work for what you needed to do. I would maybe get one just as kind of just something to play around with, not necessarily to keep it as my only gun, or my only defensive weapon. But
serious question: does anybody have? I know I've had a bad experience with Rock Island cheap 1911s. I did. I would never buy one. But I do want one of their TAC Ultras. But does anybody have any experience with their revolvers? Because they are dirt cheap. I just think, they feel cheap. They feel cheaper than a Taurus, but do they run?
That is a good question. I've never fired one before. I think, aren't they around $200 for their 38 special or something like that?
Yeah, they're dirt cheap. I've seen them on sale for like $189 or something, I think. I almost picked one up just because.
Locate any that are actually on sale. They got kind of like an old. I think that if you watch, let's see, Jay Dalton's channel over on YouTube. If you look up that revolver, he did a complete disassembly and cleaning and showed you the internals, and you can see what it looked like inside. He went through and just kind of gave it a basic, just kind of a once over to kind of clean up the trigger a little bit. But if you search for that particular revolver, his videos are probably going to pop up because he's got some of the most views on them. But you get to see the inside because I think his was not very good. He did a complete deep cleaning on it right out of the box because it had a lot of grease on it and stuff from the factory, a lot of oil. And I know that he did get it cleaned up, and it was running really well for him. So okay, so we've got the M238 Special. Let me do a little screen share for you here, and we can show you. I went on over to Gun.Deals, which is kind of like the first place I go before Gunbroker because they're going to show you new prices from retailers. So this is earms.com. Oh, it's not there. Okay, they were showing, they probably pulled the page down. They were showing 216. Here's the Arms Core 206. That's not available. I wonder if all these have been pulled. M206. Yeah. I know that they were around a $200 gun at the time when they came out. Let's see here. Let's go to Classic real quick and see if we can find one. So I think it's just going to be listed as an RIA 38. There we go. So yeah, they're all out of stock, but yeah, the M206 is what we're looking at, and then the M200. And I think my buddy Jay, I think he bought the M206. Yeah, there you go. I mean, they look, well, it only gets 3 out of 5 stars on one review, but you got to see what they were complaining about. It says not a bad revolver for the price, but you get what you pay for. Had a few issues like the cylinder not locking properly and the barrel was slightly canted. Oh, geez.
That's just a few issues.
I got rid of the locking issue by cleaning the gun up and lubing the internals. Sent it to Rock Island on a Tuesday. Got it back on a Friday. Good thing for the lifetime warranty. How would you not see that from the factory? Do they not test this thing or just check as a quality control while it's together, send it out the door? Is that quality? Because Rock Island's generally a pretty solid company. I mean, you don't hear a lot of complaints about their weapons. Like I had a 1911, a GI model, and it was fine. I mean, it was nothing fancy, but it was okay for what it was. But see, now here's the deal. Here's the M200, 39 reviews, almost 5 stars. And Classic does they leave the 1-star reviews, and they leave the, they leave the 5-star reviews up there. So let's see. Yeah, the double action trigger pull is a little bit heavy. They're gonna be. See if we can find the 1-stars and see what people complained about on it. Well, there's not. There's just a couple 3-star reviews. One person have not had a chance to fire it, just got it the other day. So he gave it 3 out of 5 stars. See, so this is why you don't just go off of the ratings. You got to click on the ratings and see specifically why people were complaining. So the only thing I've noticed, brass works good. However, steel case sucks and sometimes has a problem getting stuck in the cylinder. Don't think I'd ever shoot steel case ammo through a modern revolver. I don't know. To me, I probably wouldn't go there.
If you're buying a $200 revolver, why not?
But if you can't get the cases out, I mean, that could be a legitimate problem, Yeah, not plus P rated, not a fan of the grip, but a nice pistol for the price. So if you want a super cheap one and you can check it out beforehand, maybe shoot it ahead of time before you buy it or make sure it's going to be good. If you have a lifetime warranty, I mean, that's definitely a bonus. So it is 38 special, but just don't run the plus P through it if you buy one. That's all I would say. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know anything about them. I've seen them sub $200. So I thought, I've thought about picking one up just for the fun of picking one up, just because they're so cheap.
Mm-hmm. Oh, let's see what we got here. So the last question I got for you in our little revolver discussion: do you take your money and let's say you got $600, you want to buy yourself a revolver? Okay, you want to get yourself a 357 Magnum. So you got $600 to $700. Are you better off buying something old, like say a Security 6 or a Service 6, or are you better off buying something new? Whatever. What do you guys think? Is your money, would you rather go with an older gun just because there's this idea that there's better quality to it, higher quality bluing, higher quality internals? What would you guys do? Would you go modern? I mean, let's just say you just want one to shoot. Maybe you're not so worried about collectability and value, but you just want a good revolver. So would you go old and used, or would you go brand new?
I would go use GP100.
Okay. I can run this one through the panel. Squib, what would you do? Would you take your $600 or $700 and buy a good old revolver that comes from a line that's got a lineage that you believe in, or would you get yourself a new gun just to have yourself the new gun?
Seeing how every old revolver I want cost well in excess of $700. I guess I'm going to have to go new by default.
Okay, fair enough. Defense Dad, what about you? You're looking for that first revolver. Would you take our advice and go buy yourself something old that's, you know, like I said, that's got a nice history behind it, that's known to be a good revolver, or would you go get a new one just to have a new gun?
If I had someone with me who knew more about them, I might go used. If it's just me, I'm probably going new just for warranty, just to be real about it.
Yeah, if you run into something that's been shot a lot and you can't tell if it's got timing issues, just, you know, at the table at the gun show. That's a good idea. Definitely take somebody with you. Gizzard Gary, what do you think?
I think I'm going to be going new. I mean, it's just about the same amount of money, and that way, you know, you got something that somebody hasn't screwed with.
Well, it's like what Squib was saying. You go to the gun shows and they ask they might be $50, $25 below MSRP on a brand new one. You know, you get the exact same model. So
that way you get to put all the scratches on it yourself.
Exactly. I agree. And Kingpin, what about you? I mean, you went the used route. Why didn't you just go buy a new one, Kingpin? And I'm not criticizing you. I'm just curious.
Well, most of my guns come along the same way. My phone rings and my friend's like, "Hey, I got a gun for sale. Do you want it?" And then I say yes, and that's how I end up with it.
Okay.
So there's been a couple of guns that I have, like, you know, the Ruger Security 9, the 2 CZs I have. I purposefully went out to buy them for them. Most of the other stuff has just been happenstance. Hey, I got a gun for sale. Do you want it? That's how the revolver came along.
Okay.
And where I'm at right now, for me to get another revolver, I'd probably be looking into an older, you know, classic type of model, something, you know, that's famous or something like that, like a, you know, popular type of gun. So I'd go with the older gun. If something came out new that was really nice, like Obnoxious put out a video with the Python, and that just looks really sweet. So I'd be inclined to go buy that. So I'm a little bit both, but right now I'd probably lean toward buying the older gun first.
Okay. Yeah, I would probably, like the police Service 6 that I'm testing on my channel right now. I would buy that in a heartbeat. It just has a good solid feel to it. It's got a great trigger. It's smooth. You know, it's accurate. You get a chance to shoot it ahead of time. So I'm sure Stan would never sell it to me, but that's a great revolver right there. And you can get those for $650 on Gunbroker. I was looking them up there. I mean, they made 1.3 million Security 6 variants, and that includes the Service 6 and the Speed 6. And I mean, they're out there. The thing is, you just got to make sure you get one that hasn't had the crap shot out, because a lot of them might have been Academy guns that were used for training, or they might have had a lot of rounds put through them. That was the only real complaint about that whole line, is that they did wear out because people just shot the heck out of them, you know.
Well, I mean, in today's time, we also have this box that we're all looking at. You know, we've got gun channels. We've got the Reloaders Network. You know, G-Webs, Scotsman, Squibby, they know everything there is to know about every revolver out there. You know everything about every other gun that's ever existed. So there shouldn't be a situation where you don't know what you're doing when you go into it, because if you turn your computer on and hop on gun channels or YouTube now, you can get any bit of information that you want, and you can also filter through it. You know, if you can ask somebody who you don't really like their opinion, and then come over to a channel of somebody that you do really like, and then figure out. So the internet gives you a big option. These gun channels and stuff give you a major help. So you really shouldn't end up in a bad situation, unless of course you buy a factory reject, or, you know, the person you're buying it from lied to you directly or something like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that's the nice thing is, it's not like you have to go hunt down a brochure and read it and ask opinions anymore. You can go online and get all the information you want, all the reviews you want to read, all the information is right there before you spend the money on it. You can look up and see what kind of inherent qualities the gun has, what kind of problems that they have to look for. I mean, you could even just type in Ruger GP100 problems, and you can see a list of all the videos of people that had issues with them, and you can find out, you know, this is what I need to look for before I go buy one of these. Because you don't want to get one that's going to have any kind of timing issues. It's going to require some gunsmith work, or, you know, a return to the factory to get cleaned up and stuff. So, all right. Anything else about revolvers, guys? Anything else you want to mention? Like I said, just talking about some of our favorites, some recommendations.
If you buy a revolver and it works just fine, and you put 1,000 rounds, I'm just making it up, it could be 1,000,000 rounds, put a bunch of rounds through it, and then the timing starts getting off. Is that finished, or can you at home fix that?
You can fix it most of the time.
Is it a gunsmith, or is it done? Like, what happens when the timing is off? On a gun that's used a lot.
The hand wears out.
Yeah, but can it be fixed, or is it paperweight?
No, you can replace it.
You just simply replace it. That's
and
all.
A lot of them aren't that hard to even take apart and replace. Just a little bit of knowledge, and you can change it. Sometimes you have to fit them, though.
Yeah, I would watch several videos on it, and maybe, yeah, I would definitely, before you just decide to take your revolver apart, I would definitely, you know, educate yourself as much as you can. And if you don't think you can do it, or if you're not going to be comfortable with it, or don't have the tools, either get the knowledge and do it yourself, or just go ahead and take it to a competent gunsmith, because you don't want to mess something up even worse than it might be. But there's only so many parts that are in a revolver. You know, they're not watches. You know, there's only so many parts that go in them. I think the security, like the Service 6 line, it's got a minimum number of parts for the actual action itself, so they are easy to service. But if you're not comfortable working on that kind of thing, then I wouldn't do it. But me personally, I would, just because I feel like I'd be okay with it. But Snob, you said there might be some hand fitting you're going to have to do.
Yeah, you may have to fit some parts or something. The stone or something.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that's, you know, that you got to worry about.
True. But if you get a new one, you know, if you have a warranty, you can just go ahead and send it off and not have to worry about it. So that's
and one thing we're not taking into account, everybody keeps saying get a new one so you get a warranty. Most of these, if you buy a used, you know, name brand, they're still going to take care of you.
Oh, Smith & Wesson's lifetime. Taurus is
going to take care of you.
Lifetime. So is North American Arms. So is it not Heritage? Charter Arms is also lifetime on it. I mean, I know that their quality is hit or miss Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock, but yeah, I mean, most of these have a lifetime guarantee with them. It seems like the only guns I see that have, you know, like the limited warranties on them are Glocks. I think are 5 years. Car, I think, is 3 years for a warranty. Like a lot of your semi-autos, like that's just those brands. I don't know about H&K and stuff like that, but yeah, I mean, that's just it. Yeah, you get yourself a used one. And who knows, you might buy yourself an old one and it still might be covered under a warranty. Who knows? So you could send it in and then they'll replace it or repair it. So yeah,
buy the G49 Glock revolver when it comes out.
The G49, the Glock revolver, the finest. They'll just take the Taurus poly protector and just slap G. They could. Glock could take the Taurus poly protector, just slap Glock on the sides of it and sell it, and people would just go crazy for it. Just make it out of the same polymer coating around the frame that's used for your Glocks, and just put the marketing behind it and stuff, and then give it to all the big name gun channels, and there's your Glock revolver. So I don't know if we're going to see that in our lifetime, Kingpin. Probably not. But hey, I mean, what didn't Kimber came out with a revolver? So anything's possible, right?
Yeah, I guess it is.
Mm-hmm.
Kimber K6S is a nice revolver.
They're pretty sweet looking, man. I mean, they're very nice, very, very nice. All right, so we're gonna dabble with this next idea here for a little while. We're gonna talk about the Curio and Relic license, which we've talked about this before, and we're not gonna get into just crazy amounts of detail because it's actually a very simple idea behind it. Does anybody here on the panel have a CNR license or had a CNR license at all?
Only thing I know is Rick from Rick's Life has got one, and that's the most experienced. That's what he's told me about it.
Okay. Snob, have you ever had one? Or Squiv, you guys ever had a CNR at all?
Negatory.
No. Gary, CNR, are you a CNR guy at all? Gary might be away from the screen. He's probably grabbing a second cup of coffee as we speak.
Actually,
right
now. I'm trying to get packed up to get out of here.
Oh, okay. I got you. You better go to the range, man.
I'm going to my daughter.
All right. And then go to the range.
The answer, no, I don't.
Okay. So we'll talk about what is a Curio and Relic license, and I've got the information in a link that you can click in this. It's in the comments on my video here. I've got the link for the list of CNR guns you can buy. But here we'll talk about what qualifies a gun for CNR, for Curio and Relic, and what's available right now. And then we'll actually look and see what's out there. So I'm not going to take a lot of time on this, but I'll try to make this quick. So it says, what are the requirements for a Curio and Relic license? So just kind of in a nutshell, the Curio and Relic license, when you get this license, it allows you to buy guns online that you can have legally delivered to your door. And I don't know if there's going to be state-specific laws that override this. I'm just saying you might be in a state where that'll never happen. But when you get this license, it allows you to buy certain firearms and have them delivered to your door. Now, we'll look and see specifically what's kind of out there right now, but the list is absolutely huge of what you can buy. Typically, the gun has to have a special design to it or use that's not sporting, that is not self-defense in nature. Typically, a lot of your milsurp guns fall into this category. They have to be at least 50 years old. And what's interesting is some of the Colt, I don't know if it was ARs or M16s that were made in the late 60s are now qualifying for CNR. So you could get yourself a vintage Colt AR platform rifle delivered to your home, delivered to your front doorstep. And there's certain rules you have to follow with it. So it seems like it's a lot of trouble to get one. But once you get one, the convenience of just being able to just buy it online and skip the middleman and have it delivered, I think is pretty cool. But there's a lot of things that go along with it that a person might not like. So here's just some basic information on it. The ATF offers a license for collectors of curios and relics. The ATF defines such firearms as those that have special value to a collector. The firearm must have one or more qualities you don't find in traditional firearms used for sport or as a defensive or offensive weapon. A curios and relics license is neither a license to carry or use the firearm nor a license to operate a firearms business. So it says the ATF uses several criteria for deciding to classify a firearm as a curio and relic. So if you ever see a listing for a firearm on like Classic Firearms or Gunbroker and it says CNR eligible or curio and relic eligible, it means if you've got a CNR license, you can buy the firearm that's on that list, or it's eligible to be a CNR. It says the firearm must be at least 50 years old at the time you apply for a license and cannot be a replica. The ATF will also recognize firearms as curios and relics if the curator of a municipal, state, or federal museum that displays firearms certifies that the firearm is a curio and relic. So you can get guns classified as CNR if it comes out of a museum collection. If that gun is classified and it fits the bill, the ATF agrees to it and then gets added to the list of firearms that you can buy. The ATF will also recognize a firearm as a curio and relic if its value is substantially tied to its novelty or rarity or from its association with a historical figure, period, or event. So now here's what scares a lot of people away from the CNR license, the actual requirements. Okay, looks like we have some comments on the internal. I don't want to miss that. Okay, so hey, Snob, thanks for being here, buddy. I appreciate it. And Gary, if you got to go, buddy, I understand too. Thanks guys
for having me. See y'all later.
Appreciate all your knowledge.
Thanks, Travis.
Thank you. No problem, guys. Yep. So going back to it, this is what scares people away from the CNR license, okay? It says to apply for a curio and relic license, you must submit an application form to the ATF and pay a $30 application fee. Along with standard information such as your name, age, and address, the application for a curios and relics license asks about every address you've had in the last 5 years, other firearms licenses that you have, a criminal record, drug and alcohol use, and mental health. Something paperwork must be filled out. You must also certify that you will follow applicable state and local laws. Once you issue it, the license is good for 3 years. Now, going into it, it says once the ATF issues a curio and relic license, you can acquire curios and other license. You can also acquire curios from other licensed collectors. So you can go person-to-person sale if they're both CNR certificate holders and they are a CNR certified gun. You can also dispose of curios and relics to anyone living in the state where you live that the Gun Control Act of 1968 does not bar from buying, selling, or owning. The license only covers curios and relics and is not the license you need to buy or use other types of firearms. And while this license lets you acquire and dispose of curios and relics, such as acquisition and disposal cannot include money changing hands. So in other words, the license does not grant you the authority to buy or sell firearms, whether they are curios and relics or not. To buy and sell firearms, you need to apply for a dealer's license. So if you have a curio and relic license, what I don't know is once it expires, could you then turn around and sell your firearms if you wanted to? I don't know. If they're bought under a curio and relic status, what can you do with them aside from trading? And that's something I can't answer. I'd have to look into it in more detail. And see if there's anything else on there. So obviously, even if it's like a full auto machine gun, right? Or let's just say it, let's just call it that. And it is 50 years or older. Just because you have a CNR doesn't mean that you can actually buy it. So other restrictions, it says collectors of curios and relics do not need to run a background check on someone they transfer a firearm to. However, federal law bars you from transferring a firearm to somebody that you think might be a felon or otherwise be prohibited from receiving or possessing firearms. And then it says you don't have to keep records of the people you acquire firearms from or transfer them to, since yours is a license that allows you to collect, but in no other way runs a firearms business. So those are the details of the CNR license. And so would you ever consider going with something like this? Squib, what do you think? Would you ever do the CNR route? Have you thought about it?
I've considered it. I've heard some people on YouTube say it's too much of a hassle, don't bother. I've heard other people say it's cheap, it's easy, why wouldn't you? I don't know. For me, it's I'm not interested in one.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a lot of milsurps. You know?
Yeah, and that's just it. Is a lot of the milsurps qualify as CNR, and there's more and more every year. Now, what I'd read is that once a firearm hits the 50-year mark, it is automatically defined as CNR by the ATF, even if it's not on their list, which is kind of interesting because I thought it had to have certain features that fit the bill. So I don't know. It's like if they claim that, but you don't see it on the actual published list, which was the last list was published in 2018. Can you just go ahead and get it? Will your dealer get it for you because you consider CNR? That's something else I don't know. So if you're looking for a CNR firearm, if you want to say, well, what's the point? What can you actually buy? Well, we're going to look here in just a minute to see what's actually for sale that falls under the CNR license. I guess it's the convenience of just being able to order it online and just have it show up at your door to be able to legally trade it with another CNR certificate holder. I guess it's more of a convenience thing more than anything, but then there's also a lot of strings that are tied to it. Defense Dad, what about you? Would you ever consider going with a license like this? Do you see any merit behind it?
For me personally, no. I'm not all that into older guns yet. If I get more interested, maybe. But yeah, personally, I wouldn't do it right now.
Yeah. All right, Kingpin, what do you think, man? Are you going to be a CNR guy?
I'm kind of going to agree with Defense Dad. I like, if I find an older gun that I want, I'll just buy it like normal. I couldn't see myself buying so many that I would need to get that license, so I'd probably just say no.
Yeah. And I disagree. I'll tell you what, if I didn't have a local firearms dealer nearby, if I lived out in the middle of nowhere, if I had to go 2 or 3 hours to get to a gun shop and I want to get into milsurps just for the convenience of not having to do the drive or, spend the gas money or time to go pick it up and pay the transfer fees, I see it as a nice option for somebody too. I guess it's more of the convenience of it. Somebody's more of a hobbyist with it, I suppose. So let's take a look and see what's actually for sale on the CNR list. Okay. Now, I did post a link to the list itself, which has 91 pages, by the way. And out of those 91 pages, I'm just showing you my screen. These are all models that fall under CNR. And so if you want something you're interested in, you're like, ooh, I'm going to look for one of those. You can look up anything in particular that you want and you can find it and they will tell you what's for sale. So this goes on and on. I don't even know. So it's a 91-page document. So it goes all the way down to, wow. I mean, here you go, guys. I mean, these are all different.
I think you need to read it word for word, Travis.
Yeah. No, I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to send this is like the Obamacare document. I'm going to read it front to back. So now it does get into specific serial numbers. And so I think these might have been guns that people had submitted and got a CNR certification. Because if you have a firearm, you can actually, and I don't know anybody that would ever want to do this, but maybe people have done this. You can actually send the firearm, have it legally sent to the ATF to have it analyzed to decide if it's going to qualify as a CNR. But it looks like since they have specific serial numbers on there for all those 3030s, there might be 3030 owners that got that certified as a CNR or wanted to buy it and wanted to go the CNR route, or the person selling it for that matter. So just looking over classic firearms, they've got 103 weapons that fall under CNR eligible. Obviously, you've got your M57 Tokarev, which you can buy without CNR if you want it. You got a Yugoslavian M24 8mm Mauser, Yugo M48 8mm Mauser, Schmidt-Rubin falls under it. Now, there's not a lot actually in stock in CNR. They've got a huge list, but there's only like 5 or 6 actual firearms that Classic has right now. Czech M52, Swiss K1911, Czech Bruno K98. Let's see, 1933 standard model Mauser rifle, the Moss 4956. And remember, every year that you have a CNR, more and more firearms show up on the list. So that's something else to consider too. So Another Maz 49. Mo's and the Gaunts are, but they're just not. There's none available. The P64s. So you can see there's a lot of firearms here that we talk about that you can get as a CNR weapon. Now, if we go on over to Gunbroker, you have 2,893, and we could pretty much spend all day going through it. But these are all CNR eligible components and or firearms. Ivor Johnson break action revolvers. There's a lot of stuff on here I've never even heard of, but you can just window shop to your heart's content. You have 121 pages of CNR firearms that are available over there on Gunbroker. Now, if it's categorized as CNR, I don't know if there's anything extra you have to do if you buy from Gunbroker. But, and I'm not sure how the prices are. Like here's a PA63, $140 is the current bid. Okay. But it has 12 days left on it for bidding. So there's a plethora, and yes, I said plethora, of firearms that are out there that you can get if you're curious about some of these or you just simply want to get one. Now, on some of these, you're going to spend a lot of money. Let's go ahead and reverse the pricing. So let's see what one of the most expensive CNR weapons you can buy would be. Here you go, Squib. A rare soldier identified Webley Fosbury 455 for $17,500, but it is CNR. So you could have that delivered if you wanted it. There you go. Ooh, that is sweet.
Yeah, that's actually on my bucket list. That's a semi-automatic revolver.
Oh,
it's a semi-automatic revolver.
That is sweet. Look at that. Look at that cylinder, man. Look at that. That thing is wicked.
I want full auto revolver.
There you go. Full auto revolver, man. That's
another 17,000 on top.
30-round ghost clip is what I want. Yep. So let's see what else we got here. I'm just checking on the high end. Another Webley 15,000, a Swiss Waffen Fabric Burn 9mm Test PO629 Luger for 12,900. That'll work. But hey, it's CNR, man. Let's see what else we got here. We got an FAL-G series. There you go. There you go. So we were talking about those FALs last time, Squib. This might be the one to go for. So now your 1960s FALs are falling under CNR. But now, again, I'm assuming this is semi-automatic. Oh, it's got an auto on that side. I'm not sure if it's actually, you know, like I said, if it is an automatic, obviously it's going to fall under different rules and regulations, so you can't go the CNR route if you want to. There's a Winchester model 1886 4590. So you got a little bit of everything. So I mean, it does definitely open up a whole nother world of firearms, which you could purchase, you know, non-CNR. But if you just want the convenience of just being able to purchase it and have it delivered, you can definitely go that route. I would probably want to be around when that gets dropped off at your door, though. You're probably going to have to sign off on it, I'm guessing. That's just a joke, by the way. But no, so there's a lot of options for you. And now also, here's the other thing, too, is when it comes time to renewing the CNR license, what I don't know is if you can just simply do it online or if you have to go through the whole background check again and fill out the questionnaire, if you can just simply renew it online like you can. Like what I can do with my concealed carry permit, I can just renew it online. It's a 5-minute process, and you just got to wait a while for it to show up. So let's see, anything else going on in the chat out there right now? There's everybody speaking Spanish. Who's out here? Single shots? Somebody named Single Shots out there? What's going on? Let's see. Rick's out there. Rick says, as I see it, I have one. Rick's out there. Rick, I should have got you on here, man. Single Shot says, got a link, Travis, to join. Single Shot, if you can email me at thecalibercorner@gmail.com. Single Shot, I can send you a link. So if you email me real quick, thecalibercorner@gmail.com, I will get you a link. Carolina EDC Review says, ¿Qué estamos comprando? Mi amigo, estamos comprando todo lo que podemos. There we go. A little Spanish for you there. Rick's Life, as I see it, says, yep, just fill out the form online and send the money in, and that's it. Okay, so that's all you have to do to renew it. So we're going to see if we can get Single Shot on here. Single Shot, if you can email me real quick, I will get you the link, and you can join in here. Let me go to the Caliber Corner. All right. Anything else on your minds, guys? Anything else you want to say about the whole CNR license, or is it just kind of a interesting idea, but maybe something you wouldn't really do?
I guess if I was buying $17,000 rifles every year, I'd have a CNR. But, you know, at that point, I would have a serious gun vault, not a safe, a vault. You know, I mean,
in the basement with rebar cinder block around it. You know,
I mean, if I just had the money and the infrastructure to really have a collection, I suppose it would be would be interesting to me. And I'm sure there's some way to figure it out and say you save so much more money by having a CNR because you're not paying the transfer fees. You know, the whole going down to my gun store, that don't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
It's the transfer fees. But I mean, I get then I'm in a position where I've got to make so many CNR purchases a year to make it worth the hassle, I guess. If I want to buy 6 CNR guns this year, I'll buy them. If I want to buy 0 this year, I'll buy them. I guess I don't like that kind of hanging over my head, or me hanging it over my head. I really should say it's not somebody, you know, it's me doing it to myself.
If you're about to spend $17,000 on a rifle, does the extra $50, $20, $30 FFL matter?
You know what? That's true too. I can't argue with that logic.
Mm-hmm. I was about to say the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, Kingpin, do you know Single Shot? Do you know who this guy is?
I know him.
Single Shot's good, dude.
Can one of you guys send him a link real quick? Because I'm waiting for him to chime in over here. I don't. If I go to the Caliber Corner email box, it's going to log me out of this current session, which is a different email address than what I normally use. So,
Single Shot, shoot me another email, and I'll forward you the link.
Yeah, we can get you. We can get you in real quick if you want to talk for a little bit. We got a little bit of time before we go ahead and call it. So, let's see here. Well, since we have a minute or two, panel, do you guys have any questions at all that you'd like us to answer? Oh, guy in the comments just chimed in. What is a good single action revolver to conceal carry? Ooh, it's a good question. Guy in the comments. Squib, you guys want to chime in on this one at all? A good single action revolver to conceal carry? I mean, it's going to have to be like a 4.5-inch barrel, like cowboy style gun, isn't it?
I would think it would be
like Birdie or something like that, or
no. You know, we talked about this one night on Lock and Load, and Luger had like a 10mm revolver that was available in both single and double action. And it was like, I want to say like $100 difference or something, but I can't even remember the model.
Okay. Hey, Night Strike is joining in. Night Strike, you're alive. You're alive. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm just getting over the COVID.
Oh my God, man! I am sorry.
No.
So
well, you know what happens when you live with family, or if you've got kids. You know, one person brings something home, and then everybody gets it. That's how it normally happens.
But according to my governor, you're an anomaly. You're supposed to be dead.
Well, according to my governor, your governor's an ass.
I'll have to second that.
There you go. There you go.
According to me,
God, man, I am sorry.
No. So you know what happens when you live with family, or if you've got kids.
Computer there.
One person brings something home, and then everybody gets it. I'm liking this Night Strike and double vision.
Nice.
You'll need to turn down your speakers, buddy, or put a headset on.
Well, according to my governor, your governor's an ass.
Rick, you got feedback.
I'll have to second that.
Talk to me, Rick.
There you go.
Yeah, talk to me.
I am sorry. So you know what happens when you live with family?
Can't hear you.
Hey, he's new at this. He doesn't post 100 videos.
Can you hear me? Figure it out.
Yeah, you got your YouTube feedback.
You need to turn down your speakers, buddy, or put a headset on.
Well, according to my governor, your governor's an ass.
Okay, I went ahead and muted Rick. So there he is. Rick, you can unmute yourself when you get your feedback figured out. You got to turn down the speakers or put a headset on if you're going to chat with us, because it's going to keep bringing in the audio track back into your microphone while you're talking. So we'll let you get chat. Whoa, I scared him away. Oh, man, look what I did. So Night Strike,
you were going to talk about sites, didn't you?
Sites?
You know how Rick hates talking about sites and,
sites? No, we were going to talk about CNR license, man. CNR license.
Yeah.
No, Night Strike, we're going to get into reloading, which is why I'm glad you're here.
Okay, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later.
So Night Strike, you joined in. You did send me a link for that. Was that a Heritage Rough Rider that you're looking at? Yeah,
that was the one I was looking at. And then you guys got me on the whole topic of the the one with the extra cylinder, and I'm like, I think I may have to go with that extra cylinder one.
Well, what is it? Only $10, $20 more, and that's it. You know?
Yeah. That was the factor, because you guys said, look, Dutchback, you can get 22, or you can get 22 and this extra caliber, and I'm like, oh, you guys got me where it hurts.
Well, they're nice to have in there as long as you can get 22 LR and you have enough of it. Because I got a feeling we're going to see another run on 22 LR as people, stop shooting their stocks of 9mm and whatever else they have, and just go back to their 22 LRs for practice and stuff.
Absolutely.
So we've got. Oh, Rick was just here a second ago. Oh man. All right, I'm not sure why he keeps getting bumped out. He did send me an email. It just said show, so I was going to send him the link, but he was already joining in here. So if we can't get those guys in here, we're probably going to go ahead and call it, because we've got people just kind of sitting around watching.
But that email I sent you, that was the kind of style that I was looking at. And then you guys mentioned that there's another one I can get that comes with the cylinder, and I went and looked, and they had the same exact one in the same style. So I'm probably going to get the one with the extra cylinder. I'm probably going to get it from PSA because they got it on sale.
Okay. Oh yeah, there you go.
So, because I looked at PSA, I can get it with tax and everything, and just go down and picking it up and bring it home. I can get it from PSA for like $189.
Well, and you're looking at paying shipping. You're looking at paying the transfer fee if they have one where you're at. You're looking at paying sales tax anyways. No. Get it locally. Go right ahead.
Yeah, so. Ship it straight from PSA's warehouse to the store, and I pick it up and no transfer fee.
No, I'm saying if you go through Classic or any of those other suppliers, you're looking at paying that extra. So there was a good suggestion. Poor Conservative said, look into the Ruger Vaquero for single action, seeing as the experts couldn't help. Well, no, I did suggest you be looking at a single action, like cowboy style gun, like a New Birdie or, the Vaquero, if you want a, straight up single action only, because you could get, like a 4-inch barrel, 4.5-inch barrel, and you could easily conceal that. So Rick says, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with sound. Let's see. And guy in the comments says conceal carry 3 cap and ball revolvers to adjust for capacity and reload time. There you go. That'll work.
That's
excellent. Yeah. That's hey man, it works for the pirates, right? It'll work for us. So
I'm not arguing.
You can get some Remington's new model Navy, new model Army, and the swap out time on the cylinders is nothing. So with a little practice. Hey, Travis, I noticed something here. I was checking my other email to see if I had Single Shot's email address, and I can't find it. But what came through at 11 minutes after 10 from Clint at Classic Firearms. What is a CNR license, and why should you get one? Look at this. You've got influence on the...
Hey, the Travi is powerful with the Force. The Travi is powerful. So there was another video that I was going to do that somebody else just did a video on. It was the exact same topic, and it was something I was going to discuss. And it's like, no, I'm going back through my list of topics for my subscriber giveaway, and that was one of them is just the basics of a CNR license. So, and it's funny that Classic would want that because they've only got 5 or 6 guns for sale, that are CNR eligible, that maybe they're just not selling them. So maybe, hey, let's push the idea of a CNR license, and then people will buy these guns up there just sitting around because they've got, that's the bulk of what they have is those surplus rifles and a few handguns. So, yeah.
Single Shots, check your email, buddy. I sent you a link.
Kingpin says Travis P11 is the emperor of the internet. Yes, I am the shatterer of websites is what I am. So that's it. Yep.
Stay away from my websites.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I still post over there on gunsube.org, but
well, we don't talk about that.
No. Oh, no. All right, so we're gonna give Single Shot about a minute to get on over here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and call it because like I said, we've talked about everything we have for today. So if you guys have any questions over there in the chat on the YouTube side, go ahead and chime in if there's anything we can answer for you before we take off. If you got any questions, we can take care of for you. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and meet again next week at the same time in the same place. I'm just gonna go back and see if I didn't miss anybody's comments here. I don't think so. We just had Rick's Life, as I see it, was chiming in about some of the details on the CNR license, which is good. Oh, yeah, make sure you go to Rick's Life, as I see it. He's got his show today at 2 o'clock Central Time, 3 o'clock East Coast Time, so make sure you head on over there. Kingpin did post a link for that.
Travis, can I screen share for a second?
Depends what it is.
It's the 22 I was looking at.
Oh, go right ahead. Yeah. I mean, this video is not monetized anyway, so I really could care less. But
so it's pretty shady. You definitely want to ask what he's got.
So I was looking at
he puts up questionable memes sometimes, and I don't want to anybody. So
I don't want to. I'm getting over from being sick, so that's not going to happen tonight.
Okay.
So, but this is the one I was looking at because it comes with the extra cylinder. I didn't want like something super long. I just wanted something, you know, kind of like the old SAA.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking at this one at PSA. So it comes with the
oh, you get both of them. Yep.
Yeah. So
with the
that's what I was
looking grips. That's a really good deal, especially if you can. Coco Bolo
sounds like some coffee you would be drinking, Travis.
I do. I'm a Coco Bolo fanatic. No, that's an old school. I've seen that wood used in so many different pistols and revolvers and stuff. Yeah. So
I just figured I'd mention it because you know I am looking at getting just like something to have fun with in the backyard, you know. And you guys sold me on that second caliber thing, so I went looking and I can get it from PSA real easy. So that's probably where I'm going to get it.
Yeah, that's decent, man.
Yeah. So thanks for the advice, guys.
Yeah, it comes with a cup of Coco Bolo Cafe. That's what I think I'm going to call my first. I should name my roasts after different calibers, and then like the stoutness of the roast is determined by the caliber size. When I start making my own coffee, like we could have Pop Gun, which could be like a light roast that's real light and real crisp, and then have like 50 AE will be like the dark roast that we make. I like that idea. Heck yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Now I have to come up with something different for GunTube.
Poppy Tube.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, brother. How you doing, man? Well, we had him. Rick, are you there?
Rick, talk to me.
I love
that. I'm here.
Stay away from the light, Rick. Stay away from the light. Hey, so Rick, you want to chime in a little bit about the CNR license a little bit? Can you tell us a little bit about it? If with you having one?
Yeah, well, the CNR license, I renewed mine a couple of months ago. You just can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We're waiting for you.
Keep going.
You're going to talk about the process. You said you just went online and paid for it and it was done.
Well, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, man. Yep. Can you hear us? You must not be able to hear us. Shoot. Okay.
Rick, can you hear me?
Ah, man. All right. So, guys, we'll go ahead and call it. That's fine. We can get Rick back on when we get the audio stuff figured out and just talk about, the user experience of being a CNR person, what some of the advantages might be and things to look out for, stuff you need to know. Because I'm sure there's a lot of, obviously more rules and regulations that come along with it than what we talked about today. So, all right, guys, it's about 10 o'clock. So we'll go ahead and call it and let's let the channel, the panelists here for today, for this morning, the great people that have showed up this morning, just chime in a little bit and say a few final words. So Kingpin, we'll start off with you. Any closing remarks?
Yeah, thanks for having me. And everybody have a good day. Check out Rick at 3, G23 at 6. Him and DM Foss usually hold it down pretty good. DM Foss has got a great channel. All kinds of good stuff to watch. So everybody have a good day.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. All right. And Squibload, anything you want to say before we go? Any parting words of wisdom?
Oh, boy. I'm under pressure here.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at it like this. For everybody out there whining that they can't get ammo and saying that they don't want to get into reloading, a revolver is a good option to have if you're looking for ammunition during a shortage. It's definitely one of those. It fills a lot of roles. So just consider it.
Yeah, looking at AR-15 prices as of late, I mean, I'm seeing prices that have literally doubled from where they were 4 weeks ago. I'm not kidding, guys. I'm seeing ARs that are, and I'm talking people that are selling them new. Okay, stores that are selling them new, manufacturers that are selling them for, they were $499 AR, now they're $850, $950. If you need a firearm and you don't have one, consider getting a revolver because they seem to be readily available. And again, a lot of those calibers, 357 mag, 44 Magnum, 38 Special, you can get those on the shelves.
With regard to the AR, when strip receivers are inexpensive, it's a good time to buy one or two, throw them in a safe. And at a time like this, you're there putting one together. Maybe it's taking a little bit longer to get parts, but that's fine. You've got nothing but time. And while everybody else is running around paying crazy prices, and you're just calmly you're just watching the Rome burn, and you're just calmly putting springs in and going, So there's just things to consider when the times are good and the gun companies want to whine that they're not making any money. Right now, they're making money hand over fist. And I don't think they're going to increase their capacity, even though they could, and they're losing out by not increasing it, because it's those in-between times where sinking that investment in their manufacturing, they're not going to get that return on it. And I think they've seen so many of these ups and downs that they're even though they know another down is coming followed by another up, and having that capacity would give them the market share. They're not looking forward like that. They're looking short term, like a lot of big companies. So there are things that you can do. You can't wait on them. There are things you can do to put yourself in a better position for next time. So learn from this time so you don't have to worry about it next time.
Here's what you should do. If you can't get the complete lower that you want right now, just go get yourself a stripped receiver, and you can go over to PSA. They have multiple parts kits for sale. You can get a complete lower parts kit with Magpul furniture for $134. I think you can get it with standard non-Magpul furniture for like $109 or $110. Get yourself a stripped receiver for whatever, up to $50, just a basic one like an Anderson or whatever. And then put it together like Squib said, and then all you got to do is pick yourself up an upper, and if you look around, you can still get good deals on uppers. You can get yourself into a nice AR if you're going to be building one new, fresh. If you don't have any other parts other than stuff you have to buy, you could probably get into one for about $550. I'm thinking you could probably pull that off, depending on what you want to do with optics and magazines and stuff like that. But there's still good deals on them if you're willing to build your own, which doesn't require a lot of tools. You can still get yourself a really good deal on an AR. But otherwise, if you're just looking at buying them, if you look at a lot of the main big websites that sell them, everything is sold out now except for your $1,500 Daniel Defenses and your LWRCs and whatever, LMTs, Lewis Machine Tool. Those are the only ARs that you're finding for sale is something that's like $1,500 on up. So, or you might find yourself like a DPMS Oracle and now it's $850, or a basic Bushmaster, or I'm seeing the Smith & Wesson M&Ps now are going for, ARs are going for like $979. So prices are not going down. And I said this last week, and I'm going to say it again. Months ago, we told you guys, man, hey, this place has $400 ARs, or this place, you get yourself a poly AR lower and an upper for $200, have an AR for $300, especially for people that don't have one that now want one. And most of us don't worry because we've got our needs taken care of on this panel, and we're smart. We bought these things in the down times and stocked up on them. But for new buyers out there right now, you're screwed. I'm just going to say it right now. Unless you want to build your own AR, you're going to be paying higher than retail prices, or you're going to be paying the MSRP, which is pretty high anyway. So, Defense Dad, any final words of wisdom before we go?
No, I'll echo the AR thing. I was just at the range 2 days ago with a guy. He's paid $800 and some for a Luger AR pistol.
Oh my God. And they were $650 anyway before all this happened. They were a little bit higher than what I could have got, say, if you do PSA lower and a Bear Creek upper, but and like the Springfield Saints are like $1,000 for one of their AR pistols, and there's really nothing exclusive about it that you couldn't just do yourself. Mechanically, other than maybe some exclusive furniture on it, there's really nothing about it that really sets it off from other ARs that are out there, especially if it's all mil spec.
Yep. Other than that, shoot safe, have a good time.
All right. So Night Strike now might be the time to sell an AR if you're going to move one out, because now that the demand is high, it's just kind of like what Squib was saying. We got this ebb and flow of cycles. And before the election, these gun companies were ramping up production. They were adding production lines. They were getting that stock out there. And then the election happened, Trump got elected, and then the gun sales just totally took a nosedive. There were major distributors that went under after the election because they weren't making the sales anymore, or they invested heavily expecting a Hillary win, and they lost. I think gun companies are going to be a lot more bullish, a lot more conservative this time around, because they're, they don't want to lose money. They saw what happened the first time 5 or 6 years ago.
I hate to say this, but I'm keeping the ARs I've got right now, because I kind of did what Squib said, and I've got like 4 or 5 lowers that have no uppers. So I'm going to kind of work towards getting some uppers for those lowers.
And you know, we could get to a situation if there's predictions for a Trump loss, which you take data and figures however you want. I don't care. If there's predictions for a loss, your average Joe's going to start to panic, and who knows? You might see a $200 stripped receiver happen, a $400 complete lower happen. I mean, PSA is already up. What? How much is a complete lower? PSA is already up. What? $75, almost $100 on a complete lower.
Yeah.
And again, what we're hearing from these companies, these manufacturers, is that their raw material prices have basically doubled in the last 12 weeks because they can't get the steel from China that they used to get, or they can't get the stuff domestically that they need. So they're jacking up prices to cover their losses down the road. So, or they might just be saying that they're just simply marking up the price because they can, and that's capitalism and free markets, and that's
actually I think that's closer to the truth.
Yeah, I don't know.
America,
I don't know.
You know.
I mean, I will say I was shocked when I saw Bear Creek Arsenal. I'm not going to criticize them, but you used to be able to get a complete AR from them for $600. Now they're $850, $900 for what was. You could have bought the lower for $200, and you could have bought the upper for $175 or $200 just a couple months ago, and they've just gone through the roof. And I'm not just criticizing them. I'm seeing this on other places too. So it's not just Bear Creek. I mean, a lot of other companies are, because everything is sold out. That's just a fact. I mean, everything's sold out unless you want to build your own.
Yep. So,
all right, Night Strike, you want to get a little final plug in there before we go?
Yeah, check out gunteam.org, and if you haven't done so already, in the description of this video, Travis has the a nice little placeholder for SS Pawn in Lexington, Nebraska. So check them out and say hi to Stan for me.
Now, G23 says, "Oh, you're still pimping PSA after blowing you off for 4 months." No, what I'm saying is if somebody wants something, they're one of the few places that has inventory. And if you buy from them, expect delays in shipping and expect shoddy customer service at this point because they're not keeping up with demand. So no, I'm not going to pimp PSA. I'm just saying that that's one of the first places that's going to pop up in a search. If you want to get it and get it at a decent price, that's one of the few places to go. If you look around, you can probably find parts kits elsewhere. Defense Dad, where did you get your parts kit for your lower? You didn't go through PSA, right?
Joe Bob Outfitters.
Okay. So there are other places out there you can go through. I'm just using them as an example because
what some people don't realize is PSA is my Cabela's / Bass Pro here in South Carolina. We don't have Bass Pro or Cabela's everywhere in South Carolina. We've got PSA locations instead.
Now, am I disappointed in Palmetto State Armory? Yeah, after giving them money for, I don't know, 12 to 14 firearms in the last 5 years, I'm really disappointed that I'm going on 4 months to get my lower issue straightened out, that it takes them literally weeks to reply and that they haven't added customer service. But it's just me being a whiny customer. And I understand that there's demand and I understand there's issues. But if you're going to boast a warranty and talk about having great customer service, you best to live up to it. Because right now I'm not getting it. So
there's a difference between Palmetto State Armory, the stores, and Palmetto State Armory, the online store. You go into a physical Palmetto State Armory store, you're going to be like, wow, this is nice. But even before the panic buys or in between the panic buys, I have had nothing but issues with Palmetto State Armory online. Really disappointed. If their online store was like their brick and mortar store, they'd be awesome. I don't know why they can't bring the two together. I'm not saying they're legally separate, but it sure does seem like it's night and day.
Yeah. And I mean, this is the first time I've ever really been burned on it, but I've seen other people complain about it before too. And I mean, I don't know. It's what it is I ordered a lower that had the wrong furniture on it. And it came with the wrong trigger pack in it. I paid extra. And the box even said Magpul furniture and EPT trigger. And that's not what I got. I got the correct, the correct brace, SBA 4, but I mean, it was literally, I don't know, it said there was delays. It took 5 weeks to get it. And then it's been 6 to 8 weeks now that I've been waiting for them to figure out, to settle up with me and make it right. And so it's just been like you email them and then you just don't expect to hear from them for another 2 to 3 weeks. That's pretty much the protocol at this point. So, but yeah, I am disappointed. I'm very disappointed. And as a consumer, I have a right to complain, a consumer not to go back either. So I don't know. But otherwise, I think that's about it. So on a low note, this has been Caliber Corner number 145. We hope you guys had a lot of fun today. We just had a little revolver chat if you're just chiming in. And we also talked about getting the CNR license. And apparently Classic Firearms copied my channel and they're making a video about getting a CNR license. So after you watch that, come back here and watch this if you're kind of curious about it. But in the meantime, I think that's pretty much it. So, guys, thanks for watching. Today we had Squibbloat out there. We had Poor Conservative. We had G23 in the house. Guy that comments is out there, too. Let's see. DM Foz was watching. House of Liberty was watching. Thanks a lot for watching, man. I appreciate it. M. Gabriel's out there. Aaron Mortensen. Rick's Life as I See It. Jason Stewart. Kingpin. Evans Jacques is out there. He says, good morning. Good morning to you, too. We had a lot of people watching today. We had Scott P79 out there. Poor Conservative. Carolina EDC Reviews. See, Carolina EDC Reviews, man. We should do an episode in Spanish sometime and just kind of expand the audience, you know. Single Shots out there, too. And we could translate for everybody else on the panel. Gunsnob was watching today. SS Pawn was in the house. E-Rock was out there. Review was out there watching. Thank you, Review. John Lau was out there, too. Thanks for watching, John. We missing anybody? I hope not. That's probably about it. So, all right. So, guys, thanks for watching today. We'll have another episode next week. If you ever have a suggestion for a topic, you can email me at thecalibercorner@gmail.com. If you have any questions or concerns or any criticism, go ahead and email that over to shootingleftofcenter@gmail.com, and we'll definitely take care of your needs over there. But in the meantime, guys, special thanks again to SS Pawn in Lexington, Nebraska for being a sponsor of this channel. And guys, make sure you stop in at SS Pawn in Lexington, Nebraska. Get out there, say hello to Stan. It's the exit off going into Lexington, Nebraska off Interstate 80. It's just off to the right. Stop and say hello to Stan, and SS Pawn will take care of your firearms needs. So in the meantime, guys, I want you to have fun. I want you to be safe. And as you know, we will talk to you soon. Y'all take care and have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye, Alicia.
Adios, Felicia. Adios, Felicia.